Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Lorebeards 40K. We have a guest today. It's our special guest day.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Alexis. I appreciate that.
I didn't know which one was going to talk, so I didn't want to overtalk.
You know what? It's all good. For Lorebeards 40K, this is our first special guest episode, and I'm very pleased to bring you Kaiser, who is a artist and writer and game designer, and you probably know their work from a webcomic called Eagle Ordinary and a whole bunch of webcomics on Warhammer Community, amongst other things. But I will let Kaiser tell you about it as well. So take it away, Kaiser.
Oh, thank you, Ross. Yes, I am Sarah Kaiser. I love to play RPGs and run them. I've been doing so for about 25 years now, which is a long time. I've been around a long time now, I guess. And Dark Heresy, which Ross worked on, came to very quickly after its inception, was what got me into Warhammer in the first place. So we have worked together. I've made introductory comics for Ross on Wrath and Glory, and I worked for Games Workshop for about 4 or so years, mostly on apps, because I'm a software designer in my real life, unfortunately. But in my heart, I love to draw and I love to run games. So that's me.
Well, heck yeah.
Now, go ahead.
Funny enough, me and Sarah met way back when, God, how many years ago?
Must have been 7 or 8 by now.
Yeah. And we were both just in cosplay hanging out.
Yeah, that's a Adepticon. Yep. I think I wasn't even working with Games Workshop back then. I was probably just doing comics. I was running the medic tent. I would set the table with paint for people to repair models that they dropped, and we would put cocktails and liquor and some IV bags, and you could unclamp those and make yourselves Bloody Marys at the table. It was a good old time.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so we knew how to live.
I swear, everyone that I met at that Adepticon wound up moving overseas.
Yep.
4 people now that I know moved from the Americas over to Europe of some description.
Would one of you be kind enough to send me a link for this, by the way? I would love to bring in my friends to the production so they can watch along.
Yes, I will get to that.
Sure thing. And I was going to say, Sotek and Andy like it when we introduce ourselves for people that are listening. Everybody may have their first show of Lorebeards. So if this is your first show of Lorebeards, my name is Ross Watson. I am a game designer and author. I have worked on a whole bunch of Warhammer 40K roleplay books and some Warhammer 40K video games. And I worked at the US studio for a few years. So I'm a pretty well versed in 40K. And this is my lovely co-host. Go ahead.
Real quick before we do anything, Kaiser, how do I reach you?
Oh, we've got a host chat, I think, but email also. I'll send the thing. Don't worry about it.
You can send me the link, Alexis, and I'll email it to Kaiser.
Yeah, let me just do that real quick. Okay. There we go. We are professionals here at Lorebeards. Absolutely professional.
Totally.
So, hi, everyone. I'm Norn Queen Alexis. I am a content producer, cosplayer, and professional Warhammer player, which is a kind of weird thing. I'm ranked number 3 in Iceland, which is pretty neat. I brought a joke list last weekend to a tournament and wound up beating 2 of Team Iceland, which was hilarious. It was
What's your list?
It was just Scarbrand, Fate Weaver, Be'lakor, 2 Keepers of Secrets, and 2 or 3 Beasts of Nurgle. And the whole thing was just, hey, can you kill this thing? Yes. I lose. But for some reason, my demons just would not die. I went up against Tau and the Mechanicus, which 2 armies hard counter demons, especially big demons, because they have so many las cannon-based weapons. And I just walked through their armies like they were nothing. And I'm just like, I'm just the greatest player ever. I'm joking, but it was really frustrating for the Tau player. I felt super bad for him because realistically, he killed my demons like twice over with the amount of shooting he threw at them and just could not kill them. I'm also a professional Viking, which is...
It's beautiful. I love your backdrop.
I have my shield here with the raven on it. This is a Celtic shield. And then below it, I have my Victor's shield, which is a traditional Viking shield.
Did you make them?
Yes. Yeah, I built these from scratch.
She makes stuff professionally, actually.
You're such a badass. That's awesome.
So this is my shield. I just did this today, the leather work on it. And my stitching is pretty bad, but it should work.
It looks great to me. And I agree with Kaiser. You're a badass.
Thank you. This is Victor's shield.
Oh, it's got a hole in it.
Bigger. This is what happens. This is what happens when a Danax at full strength hits a shield. It goes right through it.
I hope you're wearing armor. Are you wearing some N800 or something?
No, we go into battle almost naked.
Oh my god.
Our sport is literally don't hit your opponent in the head and hope they don't hit you in the head and just fight. We were doing a show fight when this happened. So the Danax came right through it and nearly clipped Victor.
No. It was great. Wear armor.
No. And then I have my sword. But these swords and everything are dulled, so they are actual metal.
It glows blue in the light, which we always joke orcs are nearby.
Yep. But yeah,
that's
no. I wear maybe a padded chest plate, and that's it. Oh, and an arm guard.
That's dead hard. Nicely done.
It's a lot of fun. If you see my TikTok, you can actually see me fighting.
I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds badass.
So I should point out we do have comments and things in the chat. If anybody wants to ask a question for Kaiser, please go ahead and do that into the comments, and we'll try to read them while we're on the air. People probably know Kaiser from Eagle Ordinary, I would say, more than anything else, or your comics on Warhammer Community, Vainglorious, which is one I really liked.
That one was a lot of fun. That was a terrific amount of fun. That's how I met my husband. He wrote that, and I drew it, and that was our first project we worked on together. And
awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Now he's now like a published Black Library author, right?
Yes, in his book, his new book, Death Rider, is coming out this Saturday. It's not sold out in the US yet. It's sold out in the UK. So big recommend. We're having a party to celebrate on Saturday. It's a derby party. Hats are recommended. So if you're in Nottingham, you can come by.
That's so cool. I love it. I love it. For people who don't know what we're talking about, Eagle Ordinary is a Warhammer 40K fan web comic about a squad of some very ordinary Imperial Guardsmen of the Astra Militarum and the many extraordinary things that try to kill them. It's told with a mix of comedy, character drama, and grimdark action.
The whole thing just reminds me of Caiaphas Cain.
It's a huge influence. Yeah, it's funny you say that because so that whole comic was based on a game that I played with my friends, and the commissar in it, Talon, was a character I played, and his whole concept is that he had 100% bought into the propaganda about Caiaphas Cain. He was a character. Caiaphas Cain was propaganda in universe, and he had all the comics. So that was his fun.
Yeah, it's basically only war characters, right? From the Only War tabletop game.
Yes, we played Only War for that system, for that comic, way past the lifespan that the XP was supposed to build out of. And so they eventually kind of progressed into the Ascension system, and we started playing Dark Heresy essentially with those characters, which is one of the many things we loved about the Fantasy Flight game system. So
I'm so glad to hear that. It always makes me happy when people talk about those games. The core cast of Eagle Ordinary was Junior Commissar Talon and his misfit squad mates, Sergeant Grigg, Lieutenant Brinton, excuse me, Guardsman Avicenna?
Avicenna.
Avicenna, excuse me.
Yeah,
Avicenna.
yeah.
Kazumov, Minwoo, Bluetalk, Marksman, Ayeta, and many others.
Wow. Yeah. Memory lane. Dang.
Now, one of the things I did to prepare for the show was I actually scoured the web and found the most popular headcanon or fan theories about Eagle Ordinary. I was kind of curious if you'd like to hear them.
Yes, I would love to.
Now, Alexis, have you ever read Eagle Ordinary? Have you ever seen it?
I have seen it, but I have not fully read it. I will admit, I've seen like tidbits of it, but I'm really bad with the internet.
I've read. I would say I've read some, but I don't know if I've read all. It was one of those things where I'm like, I will go back and read this again later, and I just never got around to it. But I did read several of it, and I did really like it. So the fan theories are, the first big fan theory is that Talon is baby Kane.
Oh, bless. He would like to think so. No, but yeah, he'd really love to think so. I think that'd make his day.
Readers sometimes talk about him in the same breath as Kane and Gaunt, treating him as part of that softer, more human commissar tradition rather than the archetypical bolt pistol zealot.
That is so incredibly kind. Talon was written to be a very funny character, but in my mind, he's a very dark character. He's representative of the kind of Imperial who bought into the propaganda and wasn't prepared for the world he was going into. And so, like, you in the part of the comic that's there that I managed to write, he was really only just starting to fall into that, but very quickly he loses an arm to the crits table. Thank you very much. The servitor limb, and it gets worse from there. So, and he eventually hardens into a much more different, much higher insanity level character. So that was a really wonderful ride.
The second fan theory is that because Eagle Ordinary was kind of lighter in tone than your typical 40K story, most fans assume that the main squad had some kind of narrative protection, that they would live through the war even if the comic never shows it.
Most of them lived. The ones who lived weren't super happy about it. It was a tough campaign. I really like stories like Starship Troopers, where levity is used as a tool to disorient you, so that whenever the dark stuff hits, it hits good.
That's always the best way to do a dark story, in my opinion. Like, just have it like light and just either out of nowhere or build it up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I just read Void Scarred because our community recommended it. They said it would be everything that I love about 40K in one book. It 1000% was. And I read through it, and the whole ending of that book is just, oh, right, this is 40K.
I need to read it. I really need to read it.
There's still some signed editions at Warhammer World if you want to get Mike Brooks special. Yeah,
I do like Mike Brooks as a writer. He's very good.
Yes.
He's lovely.
The third fan theory is that this is definitely headcanon about Eagle Ordinary, but people treat Eagle Ordinary as a true story told around a regimental campfire within the 40K universe, so that the events really happen but are embellished like a soldier's tall tale, which explains the lighter tone in the grimdark setting.
That's such a nice idea. I really, really like that. I think that's probably a good analogy for what one does at a table. So yeah, that's cozy.
Then the last fan theory is just what happened to the characters after the comic. The speculation is that the squad finished the campaign, Talon grew into a respected but somewhat awkward commissar, and a few of the more comic relief characters died heroically rather than randomly.
So I'll see how brief I could make this. So each one of us had two characters. There was really only 4 players in the game, and so each one of us had a couple, and so it was easy to have sacrificial lambs. Kazumova was my second character, and she was a special weapons expert who her only mission in life was to die in a greater explosion than her predecessor, and that had been her family line for generations. And it's amazing they had any family line, and she was the last. And she went very happily to her death in a very large explosion on a void ship. So I like to think she had the happiest ending of everyone.
That's a heroic. That's a heroic death. Yeah.
It's heroic. Yeah, I think it's very Only War. Brinton had a really terrible creeping gray goo type situation that did level out for him eventually. And he eventually became a commander in his regiment. And I think that's what he did. I'm trying to remember most of the other characters. I think Holt. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say Greg is the one most people are curious about.
Oh, Greg, that's interesting. Colin's character was Griggs was one of Colin's characters. He was I think he ended up getting pretty beaten up during the last bits of the game, and I think he stayed on with the Guard Regiment and became a commander, like a commissioned officer. And I think that was his postscript. And Talon and Holt ended up getting inducted into the Inquisition. And Talon was pretty beat up. He wasn't set up for life. But he ended up having a kid with Edda. And so I'm playing that character right now in a different game.
That's so cool.
Yeah. We rolled it up and everything, so that was really nice. And Holt's an Inquisitor somewhere. He's off doing granddad stuff, being a cool Inquisitor with a cool hat.
I mean, if you're an Inquisitor, you have to have a cool hat. That's kind of mandatory.
Well, absolutely.
Holt shares a name with my personal favorite overlooked commissar, which is Commissar Holt from Final Liberation.
Yes. He's very much, I think, part of the inspiration for that character. He was our GM's character, Dave. But awesome. Yeah, that was a great piece of inspiration.
We got people in the chat who always look out for cats. So the cat that's roaming around in your image has been noticed.
Yep.
Yes, that was Quentin. But yeah, anyways, the long wrap up of that is they all stayed inside the system. They leveled out of Only War, which I think you tell me, I think it was really meant to exist for characters up to about 8,000 XP. And then after that, it got a bit silly. And it was really a very deadly game that was built very well for rolling up more characters very quickly. And whenever they age out, you have to put them in this for them to suffer more.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think when I played Only War, my first character was part of a Baneblade crew.
Woo!
And they were the only survivor because it was shot by a Tal railgun.
Oof.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
And everyone inside was cooking, and they were scrambling out.
Is Only War the only Fantasy Flight game for the 40K series you've played, Norn?
No, I've played Wrath and Glory. I've played the newest one,
Imperium Maledictum.
Yes, Imperial Maledictum, the one with the really confusing name that no one ever remembers exists. Which it's a really good system, but you never hear anybody talk about it.
It's my brother-in-law is obsessed, and I made a really good go at trying to make a Google Doc that looked just like the graphic design of the sheet because I'm obsessed with how beautiful the graphic design is.
It looks
for that
great.
System. Yeah, and I think it took so many of the nicest notes from Dark Heresy.
It also nerfed some of the strongest abilities, like Step Aside, which is mandatory in Dark Heresy because it's the strongest ability.
I know, but you can just take it from Dark Heresy. You can just do it. You can, Ross can't find you. He can't hunt you down.
I promise I am not out there policing people playing Dark Heresy.
No, but
you have a hard time with it.
So funny story about Dark Heresy, and even funnier that I'm working together with Ross, because Dark Heresy is the reason that I'm kidding. Dark Heresy is the reason that I'm with my fiance. It was I played on a separate channel. I'm not going to name the channel here. And then the game was so goddamn bad that Victor was just like, let a real GM show you how to do stuff. And I'm not here to brag, but Victor runs 6 games a week. He is
Oh my
the
God.
best DM I've ever met.
Does he do it professionally?
No, he refuses to take money for it.
Respect.
Because the second he takes money for it, he will lose passion for it because it's a job.
Respect for
Fair.
the six games a week. That's respect right here. For me.
Yeah. Now, granted, he's running 5 and in 6, so he's in a D&D campaign at the end on Fridays. But
When does he sleep?
oh, he goes to work, he sleeps, and then he role plays like during this.
I'm impressed.
I'm only half joking.
That's incredible.
We were playing Dark Heresy 2nd edition, and I was with a group of friends, and he's like, "Hey, let me run you a game." I went. I rolled up a character, and I was like, "Well, I kind of want to be like a badass, like almost Inquisitor." And he's like, "Okay, you're gonna play a Hierophant, and you're gonna work your way up." The whole campaign was working your way up to being an Inquisitor. So,
Cool.
and this game was, I think, like 3 to. Hey, Victor. Nope, he's asleep. But I think
he's a hardworking man. Let him sleep.
Yeah, I think the game was 3 to 5 years long. I can't remember right now. We were all above 10,000 experience, which we then just stopped getting experience because it was too busted. But I remember one time we started out when we weren't dating, and halfway through, because he had a character by the name of Vornis Crimson read poetry to my character, and I'm like, I think Victor has a crush on me. Hold on a second. And so, like, I cornered him about it because that's what I do, because I don't know how to take hints. So I goblin moded it, and I was just like, "You like me?" And he's just like, "Yeah, kind of." And I'm just like, so we started talking, we started hanging out, we started dating and everything. And then I was like, what's the murder rate in Iceland? Let me look that up. Huh. Hey, Victor, I'm coming to visit.
Is that your guiding philosophy for anywhere you visit? You look up the murder rate first. And then you go and you introduce murder to the system.
Well, yeah, I have to spread the American culture.
I'll say this.
Terrible joke.
I think reading poetry in a role-playing game to someone that you have a crush on is a green flag, I would say.
Yes. Victor, he's a massive green flag. And now we finished out that campaign with my character becoming an Inquisitor, which was really cool. Eventually, she discovered that her party was secretly like doing heretical stuff on the side. So 2 of the party members actually eventually died after the campaign due to being hunted down by the Inquisition. And then after that, I used her as the Inquisitor for the newest game so that she's giving orders to new people. And then we're playing those characters. Eventually, she did die of complications due to her servo leg getting infected.
Yeah. Oh, that's brutal. Damn.
Yeah. She was totally fine fighting Nurgle cultists until she returned home, where she died.
C'est la vie. We love playing the Pendragon variant of Dark Heresy, where it's just generational characters.
Yeah, we need to talk about Pendragon on our Lorebeards RPG channel, because that's great. I have the Great Pendragon Campaign as one of my favorite books. Such a good book.
I had a wonderful time playing that. That is a beautiful, really innovative system.
Agreed.
Such a fun. Yeah.
Agreed. I do want to read a super chat, because these are our biggest fans. Super Orlock, thank you very much for your support today, sir. He just sends us a cat emoji. Appreciate that. Super chats, by the way, are the best way to support the channel and support us and make sure that we continue to produce great content for you guys. So thank you very much, Super Orlock. We appreciate you. I should point out that people also might know your webcomic Vainglorious, which was on the Warhammer community site, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's about go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say it's about it's a light episodic webcomic about a lazy, glory-seeking rogue trader whose adventures constantly go sideways.
Yes, that came out around the time I think the Rogue Trader set of models was coming out, and
for
so
Kill Team.
for, yes, yeah, for Kill Team, and so we were doing that as kind of like a little bit of a promo, and it was something my then friend Rory wrote, and now husband. It was the first creative project we ever engaged on together, and we did 10 strips, and it was a bunch of fun. And that was one of my first full-time jobs whenever I was working at Games Workshop. So yeah, that was a nice time.
Vainglorious focuses on Buck Vane, a charming but largely useless scion of the Vane Rogue Trader dynasty. He's a relative of Alucia Vane, who is the Rogue Trader in the Kill Team supplement. Also, I think Blackstone Fortress, is that right? Or
right? Yeah. Yep. He's the least favorite cousin. They can't get rid of him.
And Buck Vane, his official mission is to map new worlds, find profit and relics, and serve the Imperium. But in practice, he spends most of his time trying to dodge responsibility, coast on his title, and look heroic with minimal actual effort. He's like a little bit Deadpool, isn't he?
Maybe he would like to think so. I mean, he appears in my Dark Heresy games as Uncle Vane's of Uncle Vane's Chicken Glory. He has like a line of fast food sectors within Calixis. So,
Hawk is pointing out that Lorebeards Twitch, it looks like YouTube chat is breaking. Unfortunately, is broken. I don't know what to do about that. I'm not a technical genius when it comes to that.
I could try to figure something out real quick.
Okay, yeah, Alexis might be able to get into. Thank you for letting us know, Hawk. Technical difficulties, everybody. Just a little bit. We got a comment from BioFit45. Cheers. Hello, Sarah. Welcome to the show. We've checked this guest for gills. Yes. So BioFoot is our local fishman enthusiast.
I'm not a navigator yet. A few more warp jumps and I might go some. Give me time.
So we are testing the YouTube chat, and with Zero Daimu, thank you very much, and Rush 21129, looks like it's working.
Yeah, I can't see anything on my end.
And there's not too much more I wanted to say about Vainglorious. I just wanted to kind of open it up if there was anything you wanted to say about Vainglorious specifically.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I mean, the production was one of those best case scenarios where there was really just nothing of note. You know, it was a fun project that came down the line. My lovely partner wrote up a wonderful script. We sat down and we sketched a lot of those characters together collaboratively. And yeah, once the designs were done, we just kind of drew the script. You know, I've been doing this long enough to be very thankful for you know, a job where there's just no stories to tell.
Yeah, this is like those episodes of Behind the Music where there's just nothing, and they're like, and they were perfectly fine, and they married their love of their life, and they lived happily ever after, and everybody's like, where's the drama?
Yeah, ask me about software, I'll sing a different tune. But no, it's my time at with working in the creative parts of Games Workshop was a fun story. Yeah, it's a nice fun time. Nothing too crazy, unfortunately, to tell about.
Well,
are you still working with them?
No. I left 4 years ago. I got poached by a regulatory finance outfit and went back into the world of software. C'est la vie. But I needed to buy a house, and that happens when you work in regulatory finance.
Yeah,
I imagine it does. Yeah. Do you give investment advice? Can I call you up later? We'll talk about
Not legally.
Oh, we got a question. We do have a question for Kaiser from USS Jalapeno Poppers. Who are your artistic inspirations?
Oh, so many. I'm obsessed with John Prophet and like the whole series of Prophet comics. I'm a really big fan of some contemporaries online like Verve, and I share a space, an artistic space, with some friends in town here, and so we all have a studio together. And you know, those illustrators are all very close friends and inspirations of mine. But I mean, like all the greats too, Klimt, like all the graphic designers of the, 50s and 60s. It's like I
Warhol.
really love that era. Yeah. And I mean, of course, your more modern classics, the Blanches. It's the I've got the book right here. I'm terrible at names. You'll have to excuse me. I'm terrible at names. The Paul
Same.
Baitons, of course. So it's like I'm fortunately kind of surrounded by them, and so
If you have your copy of Rogue Trader, and you look at the map on the inside of that book, that is our very own Andy Law, cartographer. Who did
he's
that.
great, by the way.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I agree.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but we happen to be big fans of maps in this house.
Way in the back there.
Yeah, that's the map of Nordland.
Oh.
We have a friend that works in a print shop, and it's like it is the best thing to have if you are a TTRPG nut, because we have like 1,000 character sheets. We asked him for 3. He printed us 1,000 because he's a jerk. But we also asked him to print us on hard stock the maps of all of like Middenheim, Nordland. We have like 5 maps just on the wall in the bedroom. It's great. I love it.
Oh, I'm so jealous. That's a pretty good get. Maybe not jealous of the 1,000 character sheets. What system are they for?
It's everything.
Oh, just a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, the other week I had him print, and by other week I mean almost like a few months ago. I had him print Kids on Bikes player sheets, because Kids on Bikes is the easiest RPG to get into. It's hands down the easiest one to make a character for. You just pick where your dice are going, and that's it. You're done with character design. I asked him for 4 because that's all I needed.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a 40. And the worst part is, since they're character sheets, you can't just throw them out. You have to let them sit on the shelf for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. You gotta save all the drawings.
Yep.
I did write an adventure for Kids on Bikes, which is part of I think it's in the the deluxe edition book. I think there's a bunch of adventures in the back, and one of those is mine. So
I'll have to go to Nexus and check it out.
I mean, I don't. I'm not gonna. You know what? There's probably better adventures I've written. To be honest. So, but if you like it, you like it. That's great. We have another question for Kaiser from our very own Hawk. Hawk would like to ask, what Xeno would you like to play in a more Xenos accepting campaign?
Oh, we have I'm running a Harlock Legacy game right now, and someone's playing a Drukhari, and we're making it work, and they're very inspiring. And so like now that I've seen that, I'm like, that could be pretty fun actually. You have to come up with a really good incentives, because I found the Drukhari rules in Rogue Trader to be good, but not sustainable enough for a really long campaign. It's a real death drive built into that, and so we gently adapted it, and it's worked. So it's good.
Hey, if it works for you, I will officially sign off on it. Congratulations.
Hey, we took everything else.
No problem. If I might, I would like to say you were telling this great story before the show started about how you got into 40K in the first place through Dark Heresy. Yeah. Would you mind telling our chat about that?
Oh my god, I'd be thrilled. So I was in the university or college, American parlance, and I was sat waiting for my Gothic art history class, which is the first warning that something's wrong. And one of my friends sits down with a Tau battle suit, and I'm like, what is that? And he's like, I've got things to tell you if you're in a Gothic art history class, but you've never heard of Warhammer. And so and he knows I'm like into Gundams and stuff, so I'm screwed. I don't know what your language of preferences are with this game.
Oh,
So screwed.
you can
And
swear. It's fine.
okay, I'll keep that in mind. We went back to his place, and he opens up Dark Heresy First Edition. He doesn't tell me anything. He just hands me 2d10, and he says, roll. And so I rolled, and he's like, okay, you are a Voidborn. And I'm like, cool, what's that? And he's like, well, you were born on a ship, and it's all you've ever known, and you're out in the void, and maybe there's people there, maybe there isn't. But whatever the case, your whole life has been in space. So you may not even know that you're in space because you have no context. I'm like, cool, go on. And he's like, roll again. And then it was like, oh, you're a psyker.
Oh no.
And I'm like, what's that? And we kind of went through the whole thing right into the supplement. So like I had her hair color, I had her age, I had her height and weight. And by the time I was done naming her, I was in love with her. I wanted to know everything about her. And I didn't know anything about the Mechanicus or Tau factions or the War in Heaven. Like we never had to get to any of that
Ah,
because all I needed to know was her center of focus. And from her footsteps, I could explore the world in this like really personalized sort of onboarding experience. And I have repeated that pathway to bring people into not just Dark Heresy, the game, but Warhammer as a setting dozens of times. And it hits. If you are a guy and you just can't get your girlfriend into Warhammer, or your guy friend, or like the storyteller in your life who's intimidated by heaps of lore, just start them from a vantage point of a character and a very small part of it and work out. It works great. You'll fall in
Is
love.
Isn't that amazing? You started making a character for Dark Heresy, ended up working at Games Workshop, doing official web comics for them. How that's an amazing journey. Like I
Wow.
love that.
It is really strange. It's like after that, it wasn't long until I fell in love with Only War, and I made my characters there, and then started drawing Eagle Ordinary. I drew that comic for about 3 years, every single night. It was 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours a week, so it was a
Wow.
lot of work. And I started doing conventions at Adepticon, and we just had the Medics table. It was just like a silly sort of fun table. I draw comics for the convention each year, and it was just like a way to connect. I was just single person living in Boston and with a lot of free time on my hands. And one time I'm sitting at the table and I've got like all the paraphernalia out. I'm like selling little fan art commissions and things. And like this big Scottish guy walks up to me and he's like, well, would you draw me a commission? I'm like, yeah, I'll draw you a commission. And what would you like? And he's like, oh, just draw me. And I was like, okay, I'll draw you. And he goes away, he comes back and he introduces himself as like, at the time, he was like the marketing lead of Games Workshop. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm only selling these comics for like £5 each. Is that okay? And he's like, just don't worry about it. And after that, he started kind of like getting in some contract work for me. And I would just do that occasionally and did a bunch of art for the web store. From there, I got a full-time gig doing more stuff for their website. And then eventually he asked if I could come on full-time. And at the time I was a software designer in Boston, and I just couldn't work for an illustrator's salary. I had school loans, I had habits to pay for, including steak and whiskey. And
yeah.
and so they hired me on as a software designer, and I built the 40K app and worked with the team on the Age of Sigmar app and the Paint app and the very early versions of a couple other things. And then that was the end of my tenure. I got poached by some reg tech guys, and off I went. And these days I'm working at Depop. One of those. I started last week. Settling in.
Well, that's amazing. So all the apps that people have used you for 40K and Age of Sigmar, you've touched that. That's part of your. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Alexis probably has used some of those.
I use them almost every day.
I'm sorry if they're not good. I tried my best. It was just me.
Honestly, knowing Games Workshop, I could believe that it was just one person doing everything.
It was actually a really valiant effort. It's like I could talk your ear off about it, so I won't hear. But I can tell you that the team that made those was like a really hardworking, good group of folks. And the Age of Sigmar app, especially the first one, that was made by 2 guys, and that was a really, really good app, and, they just kicked ass. I'm still working with one of them at my current shop, so, yeah.
That's super cool. I gotta say, someone walking up to you at a convention where you're doing fan art and not bringing out the lawyers and instead saying, "We'd like you to work with us directly," that's huge.
I Yeah, no, they were all really nice. It's like I guess it's like if I could go back in time and tell myself as a fan artist one thing, about, like, what the people in the marketing team and beyond are like, it's just that they're people. They like the game, they love fans. It's just like, there's certain things that you have to, do, within your capacity as a professional protecting, intellectual property that require you to be very careful about how you communicate and what you do and what you sanction, and it's just like, just, do what you do what you love, and don't be silly, and it'll be fine.
You heard it here. Don't be silly, and it'll be
Don't
fun.
be silly. That's my advice.
I don't know if I can listen to that. I am 1000% silly. I take nothing seriously.
We do have
I
another,
understand it.
we do have another super chat from Super Urlock. Same message as last time. Thank you again, Super Urlock. Really appreciate it. I wonder if he's just doing this for the 2 cats or not. I'm not sure. But thank you very much. We appreciate your support. Also, Ricky Chapman, who, by the way, is a big role player with a lot of, he does a lot of miniatures for his role playing game sessions, and he has multiple games that he's been in. Every time he talks about his campaign, it sounds amazing. And he says the only constant is change, in backwards, of course, because why not?
I mean, that is absolutely the truth.
And lastly, Biofoot says, "Dope." I guess he's talking about your work on the apps. I'm thinking, but
I that would be nice.
No,
They were brought-
the Warhammer app itself, I actually use so often, and I have tons and tons of army lists on it
yes, good.
because I play 23 different armies.
only 23.
Yeah, I'm counting
Slacker.
my separate Space Marine forces as separate. For 40K, I only play about 15, and a lot of it is Heresy, and then some of it is Old World, and I have one to 2 AOS armies.
That's impressive. Well, I'm glad it's helpful. It certainly consumed about 2 years of my life. So,
I mean, the GW app, it's amazing. I absolutely love it. I like Battlescribed as well, but I only use it for Horus Heresy. But Horus Heresy 3rd edition is kind of just it's a game where you have to argue with your opponent about rules before you start the game.
The argument phase.
Yeah, it's shared context. You're building a lexicon between one another. It's part of the beauty of the experience.
I shouldn't have to put down a building and be like, all right, this is area terrain. No, that's medium terrain. No, it's light terrain. And it's just like,
no, that's a cup. that's a cup that we're using as a mountain.
yeah.
No,
The Dr. Pepper is a Carnifex.
Well, it's
Hexes.
I often liken software to making the world's most stressful sand mandala. It's temporary. If you're lucky, it's beautiful, but hopefully the best part's just kind of making it with other cool people, and that was very much our case. I imagine, however, for making RPG manuals and spreads, it's a little bit more permanent. I envy the ability to leave an artifact in the world. And it must be very nice being able to look behind you and see the spread of like all of the things that you've touched. I see that beautiful black consistent wall of all the Fantasy Flight books right there, and I covet them. I got my hands on a $150 set of the Harlock Legacy books.
Wow.
I'm running the game for 2 different groups right now, and I'm spending a hell of a lot of time on it, Roz. And so I wanted the damn things for myself, and so I got them. And now I'm gonna have to get you to sign them at some point.
Oh, I'd love to. You got to get John to sign him as well, because John, he's a hell of a guy, and there's a great story we could tell sometime about like the development of Harlock's Legacy, and
Please, I would love to ask all about it.
well, it's relevant because there is a Dark Heresy computer game from Alcat that's on the way, and it probably will involve maybe will involve some of this. Who knows? We do have a super chat asking you a question though, so let's bring that up. Ricky Chapman, thank you very much for your support. Kaiser, we would like to ask you a question. If you were isekai'd into Warhammer, what would you do?
To die.
It's not a good place to be. There's just no part of it where you're having a great time. I think I'd probably want to be like a junker. I'd want to be I'd want to be a shipbreaker outside Scintilla, taking the space elevator down to Tarsus, getting some like weird food down there, and just like being someone that everybody forgets about, living through some sandstorms and being mostly left alone. No Inquisition for me. I don't need to know anything about Necrons or any of that. I'd prefer not to.
Nice.
That is a really cool spot. There is, again, this is going to sound super awkward, but it's in the Voidscar book, and this place was described perfectly. It is the carcass of a void whale, where Votan are mining it, and they set up a whole marketplace where all Xenos are allowed to go, except orcs, because orcs just cause problems. But like even humans are there, but they're like, they're kept off to the distance because Votan don't like humans.
Yeah.
And like the whole place just sounds super cool. Also, we find out that Eldar have to strictly the what are they called? Oh my god, brain work. Corsairs, thank you.
Oh yeah.
The Corsairs actually like human food. But they don't want to admit it. So they keep buying it. They're just like, I'm never going to ask what this is, but try it. It's really good.
We don't eat Monkai food. Yeah, that's fine.
They spike Amasect with their own shots of vodka to make it taste better. And I'm just like, I would love to live I would love to just travel with the Votan, just be like a traveling merchant with the Votan.
Oh, that's a great call. What about you, Ross? What if you were isekai into 40K? What would you want to be?
What would I want to do?
Yeah.
I really liked your answer. I'd like to find somewhere productive that just everyone would leave me alone, frankly. I mean, probably like one of those administratum worlds where it's just nothing but libraries and scrolls, and I just wear a robe and learn stuff all day.
That's not so bad. Yeah, you could be Larry on Solomon. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. Solomon. Perfect.
There is a book in There is a world in Mark of Faith that's really funny because the whole planet is covered in flowers. And the whole purpose of the planet is that you make beautiful flowers for funerals. And that's what the whole planet does.
That's so cool.
I'd live there. That also sounds pretty nice.
It's Netherlands.
Granted, it was attacked by Tyranids and destroyed, so
Yeah.
Daisy.
Got another super chat here from Zero Daimu. Thank you, Zero Daimu. Appreciate your support. He asks, is there any special balancing act to writing characters who you want to be good or likable, but exist within an inhumane system and therefore must be evil? I think it's about talent, I think is probably what he's talking about here.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I love that question. I've been kind of quietly thinking about it. I don't reckon myself as much of a writer, but I love playing these games and I love making characters. So I can only write from my own personal experience. But I think you have to hinge around universal themes that resonate, right? Like the idea of hope can exist in a world that is cruel and evil. And I think maybe a good study of this is the idea of an Amalthean in Warhammer and Dark Heresy in particular, which is one of the many factions of the Inquisition that you will run into when you play Dark Heresy, the role-playing game by Owlcat, incoming. But it's also very present in the Fantasy Flight games, of course. You have your Amalthians, your Stevanians, etc. And there is one very popular Inquisitor in the book whose name is Globus Varric, and his whole thing is that he's a good guy. He's an Amalthian, which means he's a guy who wants the status quo. He wants everyone to work together. And you have to think about that within the context of 40K as someone who is complacent in a fascist setting. And so even if he's like a friendly guy and he wants to support your character and he wants to give them growth, he's also someone who's not going to have their backs the second they become more radical because they, make friends with someone they shouldn't, or, say the wrong thing to the wrong person. That fascism creeps in at the corners. And, you can try that on the other way, where you can have a good character who is a little radical, who is willing to change their mind. And that kindness, that warmth in them is buffeted by the exterior, by the cruelty of the world that they live in, and it slowly drives them insane. And, their soul becomes like kind of the tallow that is burned to like push back the blackness of the universe, right? And they can only push that back for so long. And so I think there's a lot of different ways you can interpret it. And the best way you can find is to just look inside yourself and find that story that's worth telling. But
I think
it's a beautiful answer.
I think there's two characters that incorporate what you just said. The first point would be Gilliman, where Gilliman is complacent with, he is a good guy in the setting, but he's still a massive fascist that kills millions of people. Like millions die for his crusade to work. And then the second one, I would actually say Eldred. Eldred is trying his hardest to be the good guy. Or I would actually say the real answer is Caiaphas Cain, who's just a good guy.
Hero of the Imperium.
Because he actively rejects the imperial fascism. Like, he hates the fact that it exists. But he's still a bit complacent in the setting.
Yeah, I guess that's the question is he a good Imperial? Because he is, by his own admission, a coward. And so many of the good things that happen around him happen through what he describes as chance, his own heroism, or, his plucky sidekick. Yeah.
So
we did a whole episode on Caiaphas Cain, if you're curious to know more about that. And we actually asked the question to the chat of whether his view of himself as a coward was accurate or not. And the answer came back from chat 50-50, evenly split. They were like, we're not sure, which I love.
I just think of him as having imposter syndrome, where he views the stuff that he does so negatively because he wants to improve. So he never could live up to his expectation of himself.
I like that analysis. I think you can be both. I think you can be a brave coward.
Yeah.
Well, Eldred is, as we've discussed, Eldred is one of those people that does come close to being a good guy. Like, he tries. His intentions are good. He just never seems to make it work.
He only wants to kill every single Eldar to resurrect a god.
Obviously, it's worth.
So we have yet another super chat. Ricky Chapman coming in with a steel chair. Look at that. Thank you very much. We ran the Isekai into Warhammer as a campaign. Of course you did, Ricky Chapman. You have the coolest ideas for role-playing games. And we had to fight a pure strain gene stealer. We killed it by jumping from above and slamming our elbow into the back of its neck, snapped our arm and its neck.
Worth it. That's worth the arm.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you weren't using that arm for anything better. So, Ross, I have to ask, can you tell me some tidbits about the production of Harlock's Legacy?
Oh, yes. I could do that.
Without spoiling my players, because some of them, I think, are watching.
Okay, I'll try to keep it to just the production side then. So, John French and Ellen Bly were two really great, just so talented writers for Warhammer, and they had written adventures for Dark Heresy before it got to the Fantasy Flight side. So we knew they could write adventures. We knew they were really good at writing stuff. And they were like, hey, we have this big campaign we'd like to do called the Harlex Legacy. And I was all about it. I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's make it happen. But the CEO of Fantasy Flight, Christian Peterson, he was like, listen, what we really need is we need 3 source books about this many pages. And we need you to split it up. And I was like, do we have to? He's like, yes, this is what is required. We need you to split it up into 3 books. I'm like, okay. So I went back to John and Alan and I said, all right, so here's the thing. This is great, but we have to split it up into 3 96-page books. And they were like, really? Do we have to? I said, yes, unfortunately, this is the word from above, is that this has to be done this way. So we created the Harlex Legacy trilogy. Now, I would have fought a lot harder for this. If going back in time and doing this again, I would have fought a lot harder to try and keep it as a single book, because I think it works so much better as a single book than as the 3. But as you know, we actually did this again, and Rogue Trader had a 3-part trilogy, and I think only War may have had a 3-part trilogy. So it became kind of it sort of set the expectations for what a campaign would look like in the Warhammer 40K roleplay of Fantasy Flight era. And I remember we did a lot of play testing. We play tested each of the books. And I would go back to John and Alan. I'd say, okay, so here's some issues that people ran into. Here's some encounters, particularly on Malfi, the planet. There's a big sequence there.
Cool sequence there, yeah.
A very cool sequence. I love it.
Is this the one? This is the one at the end of Ascension, right? Or it's the one? Is it the red cages? Red cages. Oh, okay, yeah. They're still going into that one. That's gonna be next after this arc.
Well, so I'll try not to spoil it too much, but I will say a lot of the feedback that we got from the playtesters, I tried to filter it. I tried to make it work as much as we could. And then I talked to John Allen. I say, well, what do you think about changing this? What do you think about changing that? And we had a really good rapport. We were able to okay, well, let's massage this, let's massage that. But I will say I respected John and Alan greatly, because there were times they were like, listen, the creative vision is this. And if the feedback doesn't match that creative vision, then that's, we just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I fair enough. It was their idea. I tried really hard to stay out of the way and let them tell their story. We did end up making a few modifications along the way, but I think the results, if you look at the Harlex Legacy trilogy, I think it is probably 95% John and Alan, with just a few things that I added in, or things that came from the playtesters along the way. And it's really cool. Like that final book with all the really, really neat stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Big, again, not spoiling it, but the 3rd book has a lot of really cool stuff, and it ends up describing, the Tyrant Star as a part of it. So,
I've spoken with John French a little bit on some of his original ideas for what the Tyrant Star is, and he's told me what him and Alan were thinking about for it. So I'm going with that. They do a really nice. You all did a very nice job of seeding in a bunch of different things that it could be. And I've always loved the open interpretation that you've put into your books, for the opportunity for a GM to kind of figure out what it is that will titillate their players the most, right? Because it's a push and pull as you're playing. And I think a lot of it's reading the room and trying to give them the kind of story that is going to captivate them. And some of it's just telling a story that's to your strengths, that's to your interests. And it just so happened that the star is so cool, and is very core to what I feel the 40K setting is about. And it's just so excellent. And we'll have to stay on after this, because I would love to ask you some questions about that last book.
Sure.
I'll give you a treat, which is that we just finished playing Damn Cities. We're playing them out of order. Don't take it personally.
I won't.
And
he'll hunt you down. Be careful.
We've all been doing lots of art of the setting. So here's some Mandato officers.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've got a bunch more I can share, but the
Mandato are the enforcers, which is enforcers, we'll have to talk about this sometime on the channel, but lore wise, for anybody who's curious, lore wise, there's kind of two levels of law enforcement in Imperial society. The, if you will, federal level, quote unquote, is the Adeptus Arbites, which is the enforcers. They make sure that the Imperial tithe is being collected. They make sure that the Imperial creed is being followed. But they are not your beat cops. They are definitely not that. So on any given world in the Imperium, they have law enforcement, and it's largely just called enforcers, which, you know, but each planet has kind of their own particular title for that. In one of the books, Caiaphas Cain actually hooks up with the head of the local enforcers on the planet, which is really fun.
Very nice.
And so the Mandato being the name of the local law enforcement on what planet is that again? I'm sorry.
Sinofia. Yeah, Sinofia.
Sinofia, that's right.
Oh, so Sinofia. I've been thinking it wrong this whole time.
Oh, I listen, don't take anything I say as like the end all be all. I don't care. Like, if you want to, you can pronounce it any way you want. It doesn't matter to me. But when we were talking about it, we talk about it Sinofia.
One of my favorite things, though, is how me and Ross pronounce things differently. And we'll just keep talking. We don't even acknowledge it anymore. And then the chat will be like, wait, which one's correct? And we both just go, yes.
So it makes for a diverse ecosystem. You know, one of the definitions is going to hold up.
Yep.
We've just dug into Disciples of the Dark Gods, the campaign at the end of that on Solomon, where they're going to the House of Ash and Dust, and they've just boarded the ship.
Oh,
and I'm so excited for what comes next, because it's such a cool little scenario, and I would love to tell you actually a little bit about how I've been running this game, because
please.
I've been running games for a very, like, in all kinds of formats over the years, and this is the first time I've ever run one in a play-by-post format that worked, and it's been really engaging in an interesting way. We're using Discord, and we just have like a main channel where I post scenes, and I almost go by like the scene header for a scenario, and I'll describe what's happening, and then I let everyone get themselves established, and I let them kind of drive the action a little bit, and it's kind of like a tit for tat. And then if somebody has a side to side, or like they want to talk with each other, they want to write a scene, they just make a thread. And we've been doing this for about 4 or 5 months now, I think. And it has been so wildly successful. I don't think I've ever had a game that was so captivating, because this threading system really allows people to go off and kind of have these moments of heroism together that is hard to do at a table, because you can elect to have like a seance with a psyker where they're like doing all their prep, and they're, you know, laying down all these bones, and they're writing all these sigils on their skin, and then they're, you know, like connecting with the warp in the way that only they connect, and, you know, they roll their dice, and all the lovely perils happen, and all the stuff that should take 10 minutes top at a table can just be a whole day. And because it's on Discord, it's like, you're not held as a captive audience. You can kind of come and you can really give your energy to that person and really make them feel like they're the star of that little scenario. And it's been a really wonderful experience. It's been great experiencing the Fantasy Flight games that way. And they have created so much art. There's so many illustrators are in that game. So
it's actually amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. I would love to, if I may, just step on the soapbox for a minute, take off my Lorebeard 40K hat and put on my Lorebeard RPG hat, which, not physically, but, you know, just take on that persona a little bit for the Lorebeards RPG, because what you're describing is something we talked about very recently, which is a practice called blue booking. Blue booking is a practice that was created by a guy called Aaron Alston back in the 80s for his campaign called Strike Force, which I was lead developer on a new version of that that came out about 10 years ago. So there's that. But so blue booking, he called it blue booking because back then they didn't have all the digital tools that we have. They instead used these blue notebooks that they would pass around. But the core concept of blue booking is that you are writing what your character's doing in between sessions if you're doing it on in a standard format, but in a play by post, you're doing it sort of off on the side from the events of the core game where the game master is involved. And the best part about blue booking is it allows you to explore those personal subplots, side investigations, research, secret deals, anything that's off camera that would otherwise leave other players waiting for you. You can do it in a blue booking scenario, which is what these threads are. They just don't know it. They don't know. They don't have a term for it like we do. But it's blue booking.
I love that. That's wonderful.
It allows you to fill in the gaps. You can write flashbacks in between vignettes, correspondence. It's wonderful for doing things that would feel awkward in a full table environment, like anything that you like. We're exploring our relationship, or we're exploring our rivalry, or we're going to, go shopping, which some players just don't really want to deal with, like the minutia of shopping.
But that's the best part.
Yeah, until you start playing Shadowrun and somebody pulls out the item splat and starts buying all the bear traps and other minutia. Like I 100% agree. It's wonderful how these human patterns of behavior just create cycles. It was blue booking in the 80s. It's threads now, but like people still behave the same way. Yeah,
I mean, it's only 46 years later, Kaiser.
Jesus Christ. Don't say that shit to me.
So in a campaign that I did a couple of years ago, one of the things that we would do is say you had to go from one side of the ship to the other. Now in an actual session, you're just like, hey, I'm going from this side of the ship to the other. And when I get to here, I'm going to be doing this. I would actually take that piece and be like, for 50 more experience, explain how you're getting from here to here. Yes. And just let people like talk about like the train system within a spaceship, or talk about how like as they get on a train at certain stops, they have to deal with different cults that are within the ship, because 40K ships are miles long, kilometers long. So there are actually many different work gangs that you have to deal with. And sometimes there's even heretics just aboard a ship that the ship doesn't know about. So I love doing the whole like, oh, well, you go on this train, it leads to here. And then I'll pull out an actual train map because I'm a New Yorker. So I love me some train systems. And I'll be like, okay, so you have to take the A train, and then you have to take the G train at Jamaica Bay. And then from there, you can go to Rockaway Boulevard. And like, I'll make them actually do this so that they can go through weapon systems, or if they want to go to the shopping center, or do they want to go to the illicit trade networks and then describe how they're getting there. That'll be done in between sessions.
That's really nice.
I've got a pitch for you, to both of you, right now. Okay, the movie The Warriors, but inside an Imperial starship.
I'm game. I am game.
I mean, it's Void Hulk.
Okay, Space Hulk, yeah.
Space Hulk.
Maybe, or a ship that's like, about to crash or something. Like add just a little extra on there.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That'd be
wild.
dope. I mean, like as a one shot, easy. Yeah, dead easy.
Short campaign, maybe, who knows? But yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Now I want to write that adventure. God damn it. Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Pull me back in, Ross. You can't quit making 40K RPGs.
I really can't.
I wish I could quit you. It's fun though.
It's fun. It is really fun. It's actually I did want to ask. Oh, Gangs of New Cadia. That's good.
Gangs of New York, but on an Imperial ship, yeah.
I'm down with that.
What's the most memorable experience you two have had playing a 40K RPG? You've indulged me in listening to me talk about Eagle Ordinary, but what was yours?
Okay, so I have a moment where, as a Hierophant, I was the interrogator at this point of our little warband, and I was in the middle of giving a speech to rouse everyone around me to fight better. And as I was doing that, a las gun blew off my leg. And instead of falling, I just held my ground, rolled a bunch of toughness tests, and just stood there screaming at them.
That's quite rad. Yeah, if you can nail the toughness test, you feel like a badass. If you
It
don't,
was
though,
it was a minus 60, so it was super difficult. And I was just like, I'm still standing.
I'm rolling a 1. Easy.
So I was playing my Rogue Trader character for the Rogue Trader role playing game. We did an in-house test play, campaign of it. And my character, we ended up in a dinner situation with Caligos Winterscale, who is the Rogue Trader. He's the we like to call him during the development of the game. We called him the Chuck Norris of space. He just had done everything and been everywhere. He was the aspirational, like this could be you someday, Rogue Trader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just total badass. Has done everything, been everywhere. So we're sitting down at this big dinner table, and of course, as the Rogue Trader, I'm expected to talk to him as a peer while all the other player characters are kind of watching. The pressure was on. It was like, how are you going to handle this? And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try and impress him. I said, I'm going to make a fellowship roll. I'm going to try and be like, welcome. I have heard so much about you. I wanted to make like a really good impression on him.
Yeah.
And 0 on the dice, just completely crit fail. And so I said, okay, no, this is actually good. I said, this is going to be hilarious or awful, and I'm here for it either way. So he says, the game master says, well, what do you do? How do you explain this crit fail at a fellowship check? And so I said, all right. So my Rogue Trader gets up, he looks across the table at Caligos Winterscale, and he says, I don't owe you any kind of explanation, you son of a motherless goat. And the game master's like, okay, how would Caligos Winterscale respond to this? And he kind of took a little break, and he kind of went off, and we're all drinking sodas, and I'm like, oh shit, we're screwed, guys. I'm so sorry. I've ruined everything.
When the GM has to stand up and go collect themselves, you
So the game master comes back to the table and he says, okay, so what happens next is Caligos laughs. He laughs really loud, really long, really hard. He says, that's funny. I have to hire people to insult me these days because everyone's afraid of me. He was actually like, it worked out.
That's awesome. I love that. You had a very good GM for that campaign.
I agree. It was Sam Stewart was the game master, who of course went on to be in charge of Rogue Trader and is now in charge of, I think, Genesis. So yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Man,
I got
the story
one more moment.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So as the Hierophant character, her name was Rosalina Lockwood, who I then took that entire character, lifted them from Dark Heresy, and inserted them into my own setting. But this was still while they were a 40k character. Vornis Crimson was just captured by the Enforcers, and they were going to ship him off to another planet. Okay. And the battle prior, I had finally shot my bolt pistol. My character's ballistic skill is absolute garbage, so most of the shots missed. Okay. But while walking and talking to the Enforcers, who believed that I was an Inquisitor, and I never corrected them, because they can believe that all they want. That's on them, not on me. I'm not lying about being an Inquisitor. I'm just avoiding the truth, which is a technicality and perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
But I was just like, no, he can't go with you. He must. I will issue him a summary execution. And while he's in the cage, I take out the bolt pistol and aim it directly at his head. And Victor's like, wait, are you serious? Roll a ballistic skill. Like, are you doing this? This character's super important. Are you? And everyone at the game was just like, wait, what? Are you actually going to? And I rolled the ballistic skill and hit.
Nice.
Headshot.
Yeah.
Right in the head.
Yeah.
And Victor is like screaming that one of the most essential characters just died. And
You
I'm
gotta
just
be
like,
prepared. You gotta be prepared.
and I'm just like, Victor, all you hear is the click of my bolt pistol because it's out and I did not reload it. And he was like, he slammed the table. He's like, what? What? Check my character sheet immediately, sees that it's out, and he's just like, damn it.
Man, good on you guys for playing an Ascension level game and tracking your ammo.
I
gave up around 6,000 XP.
Okay, I should show you some of my RPG books that have full backpacks drawn on it. I don't track weight of items. I take out my backpack and I show that I can carry 3 shields on it.
I mean, that's how you win the argument.
I have taken, I had a conversation with my buddy Eagle Man. His name is Auske. Auske is Icelandic for eagle. So his name is Eagle Man because we know 5 Auskes. But I was talking to him one day and he's just like, I don't know if you could carry 7 swords on you. And I went, do I have a bedroll? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, okay. I walked over, took out my bedroll because I just have one, put all of my equipment on it, rolled it up, clipped it to my backpack and went, hey, look, it's not even wiggling around. And he's just like, stop it. But then when I do the art for my backpacks that my characters are carrying, I always show what's like hanging on the side. So like if I have a grappling hook, it's hanging on the side of the backpack. If I have a crowbar, it's on, which by the way, if you're in an RPG setting, crowbars and grappling hooks are probably the best equipment you can grab.
Yep.
Like,
yeah,
it's amazing. And I don't mean like a tire iron. I mean a crowbar.
Never leave
and
home
an Auspex if you're in 40K.
Yeah.
Auspex is big in 40K. Auspex is very big. Yeah, Dark Heresy is one of the best items you can carry, frankly.
If you're not carrying an Auspex, I don't know what you're doing. I think I've told my players to buy one about 8 times, and I know I can see them chatting, and they're like, "Oh no, I haven't bought an Auspex yet." It's like, yeah, that's why you never know when there's someone around the corner, jackass.
I ran a campaign where I asked people if they had a rebreather, and all of them were like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, it's basically a gas mask. To explain it to you guys, it's a gas mask. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, we don't need that. And I'm like, okay, you're going into a Slaneshi den where you know that Slaneshi character is. Yeah, it'll be fine. Okay, all of you roll an opposed charm. Guess what? You all have negatives because of all the perfumes and everything in there. Whoa, what's happening? Oh, the Psyker, I need them to roll like a quick miscast as they walk in. Why? Oh, because they just looked at a Slanesh champion.
Oh, uh-oh. Well, with the reason you can enjoy it for an hour.
Yeah, so they can go in with the gas masks and actually do the mission. Instead, they walked in, immediately got high off their minds, because this was a salt, or the thing that gives people psychic powers temporarily. That drug?
Yes, spook.
Spook, yeah. And if you give it to a psyker, it's weird how it's worded. So we were just like, it causes a miscast.
Yep.
The psyker almost immediately exploded, which was hilarious. And everyone else was just like,
yep, that sounds about right.
One thing that's great about being on this show is you guys actually know more Dark Heresy stuff than I do sometimes. And so like when we were talking earlier about Solomon, and I was like, oh, of course, I forgot about Solomon. It's wild for me to sit here and be like, oh, I can't remember the name of that drug. Oh, it's Spook. You know it. I'm like, this is great. I love the fact that it's out there and people are so into it, because it's a lot of that's out of my brain now, unfortunately.
It's how these projects go. I mean, you guys were working on this almost 20 years ago. I mean, I'm hoping I'm picking up brownie points with my characters and they never fucking question a ruling I make again. But it's whenever you're working on this kind of stuff every year, it's like the brain only has so much RAM, you know?
Well, yeah, Dark Heresy does have its 20-year anniversary coming up in 2028, and I would like to do something for it. So we'll have to try and figure it out, like something cool to do.
I am down for that.
Kaiser is down as well.
Come here. We'll have a great time.
I have another funny story that actually destroyed a campaign, if you want to hear it.
Oh, a full Henderson, you say?
So the campaign was actually destroyed because our Australian that was in the campaign was going to college at the time and couldn't make it anymore. And our buddy who was in Washington State couldn't go because they were going to college. So yeah, the timing got all mixed up, and we had 2 people in Iceland. So the time zones were all messed up for this. But it was a Black Crusade campaign, or as we just called it Dark Crusade, because I let them use any thing from the rule books that they wanted to, so long as they didn't purposely try to break the game. I also used the D10,000 mutation table, which, if you haven't looked at that, it is so much fun.
I haven't. I know.
It's amazing. So I let them all play Black Crusade characters. We had a Space Marine World Eater, we had 2 Drukhari, and we had a human Psyker.
Oh,
the human Psyker killed themselves because Psyker. But a bunch of the other characters, we had a Dark Mechanicus Tech Priest as well. They were a lot of fun because they kept using weapon MIUs, and then they kept using weapon MIU cherubim that were bombs. And I was like, this is amazing. This is actually as Dark Mechanicus as you can. And they built a grapple bot that their whole purpose was to run up and put a bomb collar on your neck.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had servitors specially designed to put a bomb collar on you. And then if you did anything, they killed you or you exploded.
That's so spooky. I love that.
I let them be as evil as possible because this is when I introduced my super edgy as I can make it character, Umbra Nox, who is a fallen sister of battle who uses a chain scythe and a grappling hook to pull people in as she saws them into pieces.
That's gothic as hell.
Yeah, I love it. But the Black Crusade character, the Space Marine, the World Eater, he got his hands on, very early on, got his hands on a meltagun. It only had like 1 or 2 shots in it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not just giving you a meltagun. It's going to be a demonic meltagun.
Nice.
And I rolled on the chaos table, and it got Slanesh. And it got silent. So the weapon makes absolutely no noise whatsoever. If you drop it, it makes no noise. If you shoot it, it makes no noise. If you do anything with it, it makes no noise. I subsequently forgot about this weapon.
Oh, no.
I completely forgot about this weapon. He held on to it for an entire year. They were going up against a Noise Marine. And this Noise Marine this was an entire year later. This Noise Marine had a force field that, I made this myself, and I'm really proud of this, and it fucking died instantly, and I'm really mad about this. But I used the sound table that's in the Dark Heresy books, because if you shoot a weapon, it makes a lot of noise. And in the Dark Heresy, they tell you how loud they are. So the louder the weapon that you used against the Noise Marine, the more damage you took. So if you shot it with a las gun, you would take a lot of damage because las guns are incredibly loud. If you shot it with a shotgun or something like that, bolt guns are surprisingly quiet until they explode. So I made this whole character, he had a force field and everything, and I was super proud of this thing. He walked out with his guitar going and everything, and the World Eater looks around the corner, pulls out the silent meltagun, and one-shots him. And I'm just like, damn it!
Story. It makes for a good story, and that's what matters.
It was so funny though, because he's like, I have one shot at this thing. He's dead.
Alexis likes us to remember that not everybody who watches our show is a 40K fanatic when it comes to lore, so we should explain at least one aspect of it. I'm going to explain what a Mind Impulse Unit is, or an MIU. So MIU stands for Mind Impulse Unit. It is essentially high-end Imperial technology that allows you to link a sentient mind with machinery and kind of control that machinery with your mind. The Tau and the Eldar do have versions of this technology. It's the Tau specifically have like their own kind of version of it. But anyway, for MIU, when you're talking about MIU specifically, it's usually an Imperial design. And it creates a direct neural link between the user's brain and some kind of machine. Typically, this is a weapon or a vehicle, sometimes a cogitator, a servitor. Versions of this tech is used in Titans and Knights to link the pilots into the machine itself.
Mhm.
And it lets the user operate this device as if it was part of their own body. In advanced cases, they could receive sensor and data directly into their sensory cortex. Basically, they could see out of a camera if they're MIU'd into the camera, like they could see out of their own eyes, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Tech priests use this a lot. Inquisitors use this a lot. A good example is there's an Inquisitor who has a shoulder mounted gun, kind of like the Predator, and he controls that through his MIU. MIUs are deeply immersive, especially in things like Titans and Knights, where you can even like feel the echoes of previous users.
Mhm.
And they are typically connected in a cranial matter, like through your spine or through your head or the back of your neck. Socket implants and cables are a big part of this. There's occasionally like some kind of auxiliary haptic connector, like armor or a throne, that are built to mate with the ports of the MIUs. Even more advanced versions exist, which has the user in an amniotic tank, like Luke in the back to tank and that really old movie Empire Strikes Back.
Yep. For the giant titans, like the Imperators, where the mind impulse unit would be ruinous to their psyche otherwise.
The Tau version is where they link up with their battlesuit. The battlesuit wearers, they have a version of this. So anyway, I just wanted to really quickly point that out. And we have another super chat from Ricky Chapman. Thank you so much, Ricky Chapman. You're really giving it to us today. He says, I was playing our big game hunter and a hellbrute grabbed us with one claw on our torso and another on our legs and pulled. We survived, surprisingly. Yes, I am very surprised that you survived that.
That's called burning a fate point.
Right? I would imagine that is absolutely a burn fate point situation.
Yeah, that is. I am actually looking for my favorite item in all of the Fantasy Flight games, and I think it's in Only War version 1.
I wanted to show off briefly my warrant of trade, which is...
Oh, hey, we have one of those too.
Yeah, this is for Sarvis Trask, who is a character in Rogue Trader, and he was my character in Rogue Trader. So if you read about Sarvis Trask in the books, that was actually me, and like the character as portrayed in the RPG is how he was portrayed by me. He was a guy who got a lot of insanity points very quickly. So
wait a minute, hold on. Is there's a character that I think was a player character, but I can't be sure. Is this Cade? Wait a minute, did you just say Cade?
Sarvis Trask.
Oh, Trask.
Yeah.
There's a you may not know because I think this was slightly before your time, but one of the Tyratine Cabal characters, one of those Inquisitors, has the smell of a player character on him, and I've always wondered. But
well, we're gonna talk to Mike Mason pretty soon, and I'll make sure to ask about this. What's the character's name?
It's I'm pulling it out right now.
Okay.
Also, yeah, here he is. This gentleman right here, who's become something of a campaign favorite for my group.
Cade. Vonus Cade. Yeah.
Yeah, this gentleman. He's a very silly man as described, and to me he comes off like a player character.
Don't be shocked if he is.
I won't be. I've got my favorite item in all the Fantasy Flight games here pulled up, and it is called the Calixian Infantryman's Portable Communications Transcription Device. Can you remember this, Ross?
I do.
Yeah. So now you're gonna take a guess at what this item could be.
Yeah, Alexis, what do you think it is?
Is it a cell phone?
No, but that's a good guess. It's a pen, but hold on with me here. So I'm just gonna read the description because the description is worth its weight in gold. While the construction of the Calixian infantryman's portable communications transcription device varies greatly from planet to planet, its function is vital. Every guardsman tithed from a world within the Calixis sector is expected to have a rudimentary understanding of its operating procedures so that he may communicate when Vox operators are not available. Typically, a gripped cylinder with a reservoir or staining liquid, the device has been manufactured successfully on primitive worlds, such as Iocanthus, using soft breaking metal or fissionable residue, a pencil,
It's a pencil.
encased in a strain-resistant substance, wood, milled on site. When a staining liquid is used, it can be manufactured from a variety of substances found throughout the Calixis sector, including, but not limited to, flora and fauna compression, coal, ancient animal harvesting, or synthetic means. This source can often affect the hue of the staining liquid, and this gets to the best part of this. The poor calm, as many Scintillan regiments have come to call it, is typically issued, etc., etc. Now, poor quality. Whenever a guardsman wishes to make use of this pen, he must roll a 1d10. On a 1 or 2, it fails, and they have to perform the Drusian litany of gesticulation, calling on the power of St. Drusus to restore the device to working order. Now, the best quality one has functions even in locations without gravity, so it works in space and has multiple reservoirs that hold different pigments of staining liquid.
That is so great. I love that.
I believe it was Owen who wrote this. I tried to track them down years ago to thank whoever wrote this. And
I don't know. That's a great question. It might be Owen Barnes. Yeah.
I think it might have been Owen, but
Yeah. Wow. I'll have to ask Mike if he knows. And if we need to get Owen on the show for sure.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Please. I would watch that very much. May I know we've waxed on about this for a really long time, so please stop me. But I would love to tell about my favorite, like, trio of my favorite scenario I ever got to play in. It wasn't Dark Heresy; it was Wrath and Glory, actually. I know it's your child, Ross, your proper child, born and bred. So I got to play this with my interrogator, Thorn, and a couple of his pals. And we were traveling through the warp, and our ship got becalmed, and we were kind of fucked and running out of supplies. So it's like, okay, well, we could die in the warp, or we could detransition and see what's here. And so we did that. And it just so happened that we were at a trio of populated planets. How lovely. What could possibly go wrong? And we were all from one, and they were like, hello, a raider vessel. You are a rogue trader ship. Come dine with us. And as you know, rogue traders are just clinically unable to decline a dinner invitation, even though it comes from like a spooky planet that's not on any star charts. And so down we go.
The best.
It's the best. And so down we go. And of course, it's a Trader Knight Legion. It's just a big old problem. They want to make friends with a rogue trader so they can get out of the system. Everyone's stuck there in this system. It's thank God. And it immediately turns into a firefight because there are acolytes there, and they're all fairly Puritan, and there's skullduggery and fighting under the table and all the rest. And that concludes very quickly, and we run away. We get off the planet. Still haven't fixed our problem. There's still a warp storm. We still have no supplies, and so it's on to the next planet. Again, 3 planets. First one didn't work out. Maybe the second one. And it's a shrine world. Happy days. And there's pilgrims. And they want to help us. And they're friendly. They're so nice. It's been so long since they've seen the Emperor's light. And we should have known. We should have known. I'll come back to these pilgrims. So they come onto our ship, and they bring all their bounties. And that leaves the 3rd planet, because we're ready to head out of the system, but the 3rd planet's got this funny relic orbiting it. And we're starting to get like a comms in from the relic. And we're like, okay, well, we're responsible Inquisition types. We should check that out. And so we look into it, and it's called the Lighthouse. And the idea was it was sort of a capacitor for the Emperor's light to help shine it through the Versatrix Maledictum or I
The
always
Great
get
Rift.
the Great Rift. Thank you, and help it pass through space. And one problem though, it's full of those heretics from the first world. They have moved over there, and so our rogue trader, he's not really a fighter. He's more of a dinner party type guy. And so, uh, what you do when you've got like a mile-long relic full of heretics, it's void sealed, and you can't think of any way to root them out. You don't have like a bunch of squads of stormtroopers or anything like that. I came up with the idea, and I think this is the thing I'm most proud of in any RPG game for like an idea for skullduggery, was I had my character get into a void suit, just go out into space, found the biggest window on this thing, and I got nano wire and just attached it piecemeal over the window. Because like they've got a bunch of servitors in there. They'll be fine in space, but they won't be fine if they get sucked through a vacuum past nano wire. And so we blew the window. Everyone gets sucked out. Good
And
chunk.
cheese grated, right? Right into
Cheese-
space.
Yep, cheese grated. Except there's one problem. There's what do you call them? What are those like horrible? There's a bunch of them in the Rogue Trader game from Owlcat, like a Hellbrute type thing. It's like
It's not
those.
a Hellbird, it's a Mauler Fiend.
Oh, yeah, like a Mauler Fiend, but there's like an operator inside. There's like a dude in there.
Oh, you mean a Hellbird?
Maybe, I don't know. It was described as the Namorphous thing, so it could have been either. These things don't actually fit standard templates, I think, in the lore. But fortunately, Wrath and Glory had a wonderful Psyker spell, which I wish was in Dark Heresy very much. It's phantom form. It's very cool. And yeah, that was a non-issue. Just phantom on through the thing. Find the guy inside piloting it and stab him a lot. And then pass right back out. Problem solved. Job's a good one. Everyone's happy. We leave, except pilgrims. Pilgrims are on the ship. Rogue Trader phones us. He's like, yo, is 3 arms okay on our new friends?
It's a cheat stealer cult.
Yeah, we're like, no, actually. And so,
that's just 3-armed Larry. He's a good worker.
He's a good worker. Our ship is fucked with gene stealers. And so it's like, okay, there's one very tidy solution for this. We're going to end this game the same way we started it, with a dinner party. And where's the only place on the ship where we can host all our new friends? It's the dock where the ships are. And oh no, the dock's opened halfway through the meal. There they go. Anyways, so are we. Bye, out of the system. Retransition into the warp. Never went back.
We shall never speak of this again. Like that was probably the crew.
It was a wonderful time. That was a great game.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I love it.
Had a great old time.
You mentioned a little bit ago your favorite item in Dark Heresy.
Mm.
It took me a bit. I had to ask Victor for its name and everything and what it does or did at the time. This gun was so overpowered that the person running the campaign banned it immediately.
Oh, no fun.
So keep in mind, when they started this campaign, they told us that this was going to be a very, very difficult Dark Heresy campaign. And me and Victor took that personally. So I built a Sister of Battle who can't get corruption or insanity by game mechanics, which is the Crusader Sister, which I turn all of my corruption into insanity, and then the Crusader has an ability to get rid of insanity.
Here for a long time and a fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her whole thing was standing in front of my fiance who had the crossbow. So this is called the Purgatus crossbow with theta pattern concussion bolts. This was banned immediately. It doesn't deal a lot of damage. It does deal a good amount.
This is fatigue. Are you doing fatigue shenanigans?
Oh, that's cute. A weapon using this ammunition gains the Blast 5 and Concussive 5 qualities. Additionally, anybody hit with the blast radius must make a hard -20 strength test or be thrown 1d5 meters away from the center of the blast and be knocked prone. We were in a spaceship.
The man-eater. The man-eater. That's brilliant.
So their first boss died in one hit from this thing, and so did all of the servitors with them. Because they all got thrown.
You know, in my defense, psychers were far more dangerous than any weapon you could carry. So.
Yes.
It's meant to be an asymmetrical game. It's the beauty of it.
I also love the fact that the null rod is basically described as a bonk stick for psychers.
Oh,
Stop it.
It's grim. There's the I was reading about the witch cage and the witch lance the other day as well. And the witch lance is nasty. You don't want to get hit as that as a psyker. No,
for sure. Wow, you guys have some of the best Dark Heresy stories ever, I gotta say. I am thoroughly enjoying this.
I'm so sorry you're getting subjected to this. If this continues, I'll tell you about my scriptorum module I've written.
What? How cool is that?
It's lame. That's what happens with working regulation.
Not necessarily. We actually did a game that was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know? And one of our players was an actual city planner. So when we got up to the ship to speak to the Vogons about destroying Earth, she's like, "Listen, you didn't file a permit, and we don't have your union registry on file. You're going to have to go all the way back and start over because the paperwork just doesn't work out." She talked the Vogons into leaving.
Yes, they never expect that. They never expect their gun cutter to get pulled because they haven't paid a ticket in a few decades.
Right. You know, this is the reason why Amberley Vale has that guy on her retinue who's only knows things. Like that's his whole deal is a sage. Yep. That's why sages are very popular amongst many inquisitors and rogue traders, because they need somebody who understands all that stuff and can be like, because the rogue trader, he's never paid a parking ticket in his life. Neither has the inquisitor. They don't even they don't even get it, right? Like that's outside their worldview.
They don't know what that is. They're the one parking the Porsche right in front of the McDonald's. You know,
exactly. Yeah, precisely.
The ticket is the cost to park. What are you talking about?
One of my favorite quotes from The Simpsons: "What the hell is a quarter?" said by Mr. Burns.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a recurring rogue trader line of fast food eateries in our games. McDonald's. Buck Vane's Chicken Palace was another.
Nice.
Yeah, these things write themselves.
We've often said that one of the things about 40K lore that's super fun is just how much silliness there is under all the grimdark. And there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek and fun little references to movies, TV shows, books, historical characters. And that is a lot of the fun of the setting, is actually seeing past sometimes the grimdark to find the really funny bits that are buried throughout.
Yes, but the good news of that is you can lure them into a false sense of security. You know, just yesterday, my players throwing a birthday party for each other. They've got, their Dark Heresy characters. We're like putting all the stuff together, having a nice little name day. But in a few weeks, red cages.
Oh no! Wow.
They're screaming in the background. I love it.
You should if you're a Dark Heresy fan and you're interested in some of the things that are part of that. Obviously, the Owlcat game is coming out soon, but also we here on Lorebeards are going to cover. We have plans to cover some of the Xeno species of the Calixtus sector, like the Slouth, like the Uvath. And we have plans to talk more about the Tyrant Star. And who knows, if people are really into it, maybe we'll pick more planets from the sector and start talking about them, because I can, of course, talk about many of those planets, having created some of them.
God, Ross, I wish I were on every week. I would be listening to you talk about all of the planets. Tell me more about your Mad Max planet on Iocanthus.
Oh, yes, Iocanthus, yes. Oh, God, I wanted to do a whole supplement called Lasguns and Chainmail, and it was all just going to be Iocanthos. It's going to be like a real Thundar the Barbarian meets grimdark Michael Moorcock style setting. So you would have, guys in full chainmail suits and like, with a rusty sword at their side, plus a las gun and an auspex, and they'd be like walking around in the mists and the swamps. And yeah.
Oh, that's well cool. I've always thought with how well written out the primitive quality weapons were. Like there's something in having a game that's only like maybe low to mid XP, all primitive weapons, all primitive armor, and then like the one guy drops a las gun, and that, like suddenly that guy's king. There's so many great. The thing I love most about these books, more than any other of the systems I've played, because I've played a lot, is you can tell so many different kinds of stories in them. And not just in terms of lore, but also in terms of power level and like where you want to exist in this universe. All the way from like a rogue trader where you're not really, you don't have to personally go anywhere. You've got guys for that, right? And you can kind of abstract a lot of that story, right down to playing hive scum who have never seen the sky, who are scrapping, like stealing locks out of doors and selling them so they can buy a single bolt, round, so they can put it in the rusted bolt gun and hope that it works, that, their great great grandfather found that's in a lock, and it's like, God, between that and the feudal worlds and like all the primitive armor and stuff, it's like I could spend a lifetime just like coming up with cool stories.
I love that. Love it.
Yeah.
There is one game that I have been wanting to run for the longest time, and it's using the Only War system, but you're a Titan crew. And all you're doing is walking with other Titans, communicating with them, and blaring your war horns and everything. And I've always wanted to do this campaign, but I've never found anyone who wants to just sit down and be like running logistics on how to actually function as a Titan and be like, okay, you can only move this much in a turn. You can only turn the Titan if you preemptively do terrain layouts and see if the Titan can actually walk on it because it's so heavy.
And you convince Rob, who's manning the Titan like locomotive functions, to actually turn that way.
Yep.
5 minutes ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like, I want to do this. Like, you have to convince the guy piloting the hand to punch.
So hear me out. Hear me
go
out.
on.
Game of Thrones, but it's a night household on a planet with megafauna, like actual dinosaurs or dragons, stuff of that size. And it's all, it's a lot of political, who's in charge, who's rivals with whom, but it's also knights out hunting the megafauna and like proving themselves a glory and things like that. House Acasta in the Gilead system on the planet of Nethrius was my attempt to kind of put that out there as like, here's something you can do if you really want to.
I'll have to take a dip into that, because that's a piece I haven't read. I'm gonna have to take a look at that, Ross. That's very nice.
Its wilderness is filled with chitinous insectoid monsters, drill-headed boar worms, and serpents 100 meters long.
Drill-headed boar worms. That's so evocative. That makes me think of Alan Bly's kilometers of living razor wire that he has in the Mandragona sector as a descriptor, and it's like, what the fuck do you mean kilometers of living razor wire? Don't say that.
So that's a reference to a very old film, which is the Flash Gordon film from Dino De Laurentiis from the early 80s, and in which Princess Ara is captured at one point, and she's threatened with the boar worm. She's like, no, not the boar worms, and it always stuck in my brain like a boar worm must be bad, right? So I thought, I'll put that into Nethrius as one of the fauna.
I love that. I love that you can just kind of like use these planets to collect ideas. They are such great containers for a concept. Rory and I wrote we wanted to onboard a bunch of our friends to playing RPGs in the first place. And these were people who were Games Workshop employees broadly, but had just never played a tabletop game. And so we figured we were going to 1-2 punch them and come up with a bit of a joke. So it was a scenario that was written to feel like it was a Dark Heresy game, or I'm sorry, not a Dark Heresy game, a Dungeons and Dragons games. Like there was a knight and a peasant and a wizard and all the rest, but it was secretly Dark Heresy rules. Like their character sheets had Dark Heresy rules on them, and since they had never like seen any of these systems, they didn't really know where it was coming from. And all the because it's a good system, percentile systems. It worked for Cthulhu, it can work for you. And like all the items have very evocative sort of descriptions to help tell them about this like very low technology world of like knights and feudal lords. And they were to go and recover a relic that had been stolen from the local church. And they set off in search of this relic, and it takes them deep into this dark tower that's always sat on the periphery of the town. And they go deep down into the tower. And in the base of the tower is a labyrinth. And there's a great echoing voice within the labyrinth that kind of cajoles them as they find their way through this strange maze and go through trial after trial. And at the end, they find the Green Knight, who is a Necron.
Oh! Oh!
And is really just collecting relics. And like at this point, the joke is kind of told, and everyone realizes what's going on is you have to fight a Necron lord with a bunch of peasants.
Oh
But
my god.
this was one shot. It was really fun as a one shot.
That
There
is
is
brilliant.
a-
I want to steal that for a whole campaign. I want to steal that and just say, yeah, you're making, make low level D&D characters into like it's actually Dark Heresy. Oh my god, what a brilliant idea.
I
Great
think
one too.
a few of my friends right now are actually using the Warhammer Fantasy role-playing game and just using the stories from D&D to tell their stories, but they're just using Warhammer Fantasy because
Mhm.
there's actual consequences to getting hurt.
Mm.
And that's one of the big ones.
Oh,
we have a book that is written by a trauma surgeon, and it's for Warhammer Fantasy for critical damage of what actually happens when a bullet hits you.
Hmm.
And
Oh.
it talks about how the shrapnel explodes inside of you, making it incredibly dangerous, and how like you can't actually pick out the pieces. You kind of just have to heal the wound shut and just live with that for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
It made the game so much more difficult, but so much more fun.
It's brutal. I love systems that don't go easy on you when you get hurt. Like I said, I'm running 2 different versions of Harlock's Legacy. This one is online. The other one I'm running in my home for some local types. And my partner, who's playing a Krieger, just had his leg get shattered in the first part of Damned Cities. He ran into the Spectre team, and Helos just cut his leg out from under him. And this guy is just like a Krieger. They don't have a psyker in the party. There's no biomancer in sight. And we're reading through the rules, and it's like, oh, you can't walk for roll a d5. Looks like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Fortunately, he's a cavalry officer, and so he will sit on his Kriegsteed and go places, which is funny to think of on a Sinafian street.
Oh.
But and he's not having a good time of it mentally because he's like, oh, if I'm useless as a Krieger, there's one easy solution for this. So yeah, but it makes for such an interesting story because now we really get to put the sword to the grindstone, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to put the kit mittens on. Let's just see where it goes. You can't run, you can't charge. I'll say you can walk, but probably at half speed with a splint. And let's see if you can finish this adventure. You've got 1 fate point left because you burned the other one to get here. And so there's 2 ways out of this. Either you die and you make a new character who you get excited about, or you have the most badass character you've ever had and you feel really, really invested in them. And I'm really excited to see where it goes. There's some easy ways to get more fate points in that scenario. So I have confidence he can make it through, but it's going to be hard. And so that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Love
So
it.
you like consequences for actions, right?
Yeah, but I warned them.
So
I'm like, if you do this, it's going to be dangerous. You still want to do it?
in our Monday game, I'm playing. It's a Warhammer Fantasy game. I'm playing a warrior priestess of Raya. I am a complete zealot, and Not liked by the Ryans because Ryans are supposed to be passives and I'm a warrior priestess. But that whole character aside, I had to heal an elf that was shot. Okay. And remember how I said that fragments of bullets are hard to get?
Yep.
So my character does a lot of miracle healing, which would be, in 40K's terms, they would be a biomancer.
Yep.
Yeah, so their power didn't work at this particular moment, so they had to go on raw healing skill in the middle of nowhere with no tools.
Oh no.
Oh no. Uh-oh. That's not sanitary or good. That's Knight of the Nine Kingdoms type stuff right
So
there.
I critically failed the heal test. I
Death.
did successfully remove parts of the bullet.
Yeah.
In doing so, I cut major arteries.
No.
Death.
The character suffered and died.
Oh god.
That's
And I was like, I will burn a fate point to keep them alive. And the player character, our buddy Lexi, is sitting there like, no, I have a whole nother character lined up that I want to play. And I'm like, I will do this. And he's like, no, my character has a mutation that makes him hostile towards the party. So if you heal them, there's a good chance that an elf bow goes through you and you can't dodge that. And I'm just like, I will still do it. And even Victor is just like, because Victor is the game master, he's just like, are you sure? And I'm just like, fine, no, I won't. And now they tease that I can't heal people because I kill them.
Yeah, it happens. I like that in the Medicaid role. It's, especially
like,
low level. Do you really want
risks like that need to be in games because you can't just go, hey, I've been cut open, I'm gonna take a power nap and be totally fine.
Well, we say this on the RPG channel very often, which is there is no one true way to have fun. So what is great fun for you, Alexis, may be really not so fun for somebody else. I will say I like the fact that you two are celebrating it so much. This idea of the consequences, the Dark Souls-ish nature of Dark Heresy, if you will.
I like a mix. I'm a different strokes for different folks. I've got my Monday D&D game, and it's a different tone. It's like, I think rules are a vehicle for tone, and a good rule creates a feeling that resonates in a game that is consistent from party to party. And if you're creating the same feeling, then it has been successful as a rule. So
I will also add to that rules are always up to the DMs, like how they feel about it. It is rules are vibes. Like they're super important. But sometimes a rule is dumb and you just go, nah, fall damage from 1 foot is stupid.
Yeah.
That is dumb. I agree.
Or every time rules as written comes up, because we have one player who's a bit of a power player. I always bring up the D&D bird. A D&D bird landing should explode from fall damage, because flying doesn't negate fall damage. What is flying but controlled falling? The bird should explode when it hits the ground. Rules as written. Cats also can't jump. Rules as written.
I think there's one of a couple ways to play that. You can go the common sense approach, but sometimes it's fun to pull on the glasses and say, let's do this. Let's use the rules to resolve this problem and just see where it takes us.
So there's a book from the 90s, I think. It's called Murphy's Rules, and it's a collection of all the weirdest rules from different role-playing games. Hawk points out that elephants have a higher jump height than a cat. And here's my favorite example of this thing, which comes from the Murphy's Rules book. In the Champions RPG, which came out in the 80s, they have stats that go all the way down to like -10, like on everything. So because you can have very small characters in a superhero game, you can have shrinkers or whatever. So they gave the stats for a typical baby, which was like 0 strength or various other things. But in Champions, you can also your throw rate is based on your strength, but it's also based on whether the object you're throwing is a balanced aerodynamic object. Okay. In Champions, at least in one of the editions of Champions, a newborn baby can throw a football, which is a balanced aerodynamic object, 80 meters.
Yep.
So somebody sign up that kid for the NFL because from the crib, 80 meters.
I'm so glad game developers are also doing this math and contemplating the peasant rail gun. I think Numenera takes the cake for me for like one of my favorite conventions of thought told through rule, which is I think we have all been in a meeting that made us take physical damage, right? Like we've been there. You go into the wrong meeting, you're there for 6 hours, you come out and a feather could knock you over. Numenera is one of those systems. Sorry, I know this is a 40K Grim Awesome, but I feel like this is a good comparative model. You have 3 stats, and those are also your health stats because they're kind of like you level them up and then they are your limit, and they are spent and then they refresh. And then you've got like your strength and your agility and your intelligence essentially. And when let's say your character goes into a meeting and you are trying your best to convince people of stuff, you're going all out. You can choose to spend and basically take damage from your int score to be more effusive, more convincing. And by doing so, you deplete that. So you're actually at like a third of your health if you spend all of that. And again, we have had this meeting. But now because that's spent, if you were to take physical damage, you only have so much headspace you can take before you just collapse. And if you keep spending from the int as well, it starts to take away from your other 2 health bars too. And so you can kill yourself with the wrong meeting. And I always thought that was compelling as a tool.
I've been in a meeting where I felt my soul leaving my body. So yes. Now you're right. This is a 40K show, so we should try to keep it a little more focused if we can. No, it's fine. It's fine. Like this is a great conversation. One of the things you mentioned to me was that you like the idea of how the Harlock's Legacy trilogy of adventures wove in the idea of the Tyrant Star and the adventures into the lore of Dark Heresy. And since that game is coming out, I'd like you to talk about that because maybe some of those things will show up in the Alcat RPG.
I'm so excited to see if they do. Yes, of course. So one of the things I'm most impressed about with the Fantasy Flight Dark Heresy line in particular is just how well that common core is threaded through. Like you see hints of Harlock in the very first book with the Tyrantine Cabal and like all the various quotes from different Inquisitors and some of those first scenarios, and it kind of ripples throughout the book. And you kind of get like little bits of other scenarios throughout the other supplements. And I'm poking over to my shelf over here, Disciples of the Dark Gods and Ascension as well. And those are very core elements that can feed into the trilogy, right? And I know that John French also put some material in his Resurrection book, which is also kind of like not directly Harlock associated, but has to do with the Conclave and like the idea of an inquisitorial trial.
I'm sorry. What book is that again?
Resurrection.
Is that a novel?
Yeah. It's basically some stuff that didn't possibly make it in. Was kind of used as like a little bit of a fun sort of trial scenario, and I stole that whole cloth for some of my game. But there are also like little bits of items that are threaded through, and I know that there was like another time, another scenario where you might have had a list of like Harlockian sort of relics that could possibly be found and that could be sprinkled throughout games. And I wish that had materialized because that would have been a really interesting tool for a GM to just like add a dash of this legacy that is completely woven throughout the Calixis sector. It feels like you guys really had an idea of what you were making from the very start. and that's so rare with a project that's so expansive. And maybe that was, I don't know. You tell me, Ross. Was that by design? Was that a little luck?
Bit of both, really. John and Alan really drove that part of the lore. I specifically brought them in to write the adventure for Ascension because I wanted it to be a part of that link. They wrote the adventure in the core book of Dark Heresy. They wrote the Harlech's Legacy trilogy, which was the biggest adventure series for the setting. And I thought, why not? Let's do it again for Ascension. And I was certainly aware of Harlock. I know some of the other writers were aware of Harlock. Whatever we did, though, was kind of around the fringes of what John and Alan were doing. And if you love it and you love the fact that it's woven in as deep as it is, I would say that's primarily John and Alan. I know I welcomed it whenever it was possible to do something with it. I welcomed it, and we loved having all that really great lore in the line. But I think you're seeing a thread that was mostly intentional from their side, and for me it was just like, if it's available and I can do something with it, I will.
Cool.
Yeah,
it's a collaborative process, and it takes a lot to be a good facilitator of that too. I think it's really hard sometimes whenever you're leading a project to not put too much of your fingerprints on it and just be like a good shepherd. Right?
Yes, good way to put that. Very good. I appreciate that. I did not know that Resurrection was related to Dark Heresy. I'll have to check that out. So
I wouldn't say it's related. It's just I think it's just some of the material for what the Conclave could have done. Maybe made it into there.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious if the Dark Heresy game from Alcat is going to have a defined Tyrant Star nature, like if they're just going to say this is what it is for us.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's going to involve things like Harlock's Legacy, like the widow that they meet in that adventure from Disciples. Okay, I'll shut up. I see the gesture you're making. I'm sorry. But yeah, Disciples of Dargon says a really great adventure that I really would love to see in the Alcat version if they decide to go with that approach. So
yeah. Oh, I hope so. I have you played the alpha yet?
No.
I have. And they're exploring some of the underhive areas of Scintilla, which is interesting because, as you know, that's not really featured at all in the trilogy. And so I think they might be taking it from a different angle. And there's some NPCs there that are very cool and well defined, but also, again, aren't in any of your material. However, that said, they have released some really beautifully polished art of some of the core Tyrantine Inquisitors. So, Lady Rathbone, not Globus, but Amazi, and then one other, Solomorn, have all had like beautiful renditions of their portraits redrawn. Really, really respectfully, beautifully done as well. And so I think the Cabal will play a part. And I haven't yet seen inference to any of the planets in the Legacy. No mention of Solomon or Synaphia or anything like that. So I think they've gone in their own direction. But if they mention the nature of the Tyrant Star, will be interesting. Or Harlock themselves.
Right. Well, I'll be honest. I've played Alcat's Kingmaker and Wrath of the Righteous games for Pathfinder, and I trust them implicitly. If they're going to do something on their own, I go for it, man. I can't wait to see what they come up with. So
me too. Yeah, me too. I think they do an awesome job. I'm excited for anything they do. Rogue Trader was like 2 cakes for me.
The Rogue Trader. I'm still upset that I got the worst ending.
Okay. Full disclosure, I have not played Rogue Trader yet.
Oh,
I know.
Pal, you gotta play it. They've done a lovely job.
I know. I kind of want to do it on a stream, so that people can watch me for the first time.
Absolutely, you should. No, it's a terrific game. They've done a wonderful job. It's really made a splash in the community, unlike anything I've ever seen. It's like I've been like kind of on the periphery of like very specific part of the Warhammer fandom for quite some time. The group that like likes to draw, it's like typically got a lot of like like AFAB type personalities and like all the kind of queer personalities and they tend to come in through these avenues of like really deep story and role-playing games and things where they can kind of have these kind of shared universes with each other for one reason or another that I couldn't begin to psychoanalyze. And Rogue Trader in particular, for some reason, has been such an explosion for this type of demographic. And like so many of the like women and queer people I know who have gotten into it recently have come in through Rogue Trader, and like the stories told through that and the art and the romance and the gameplay and the lore. It's something about it is so magnetic, and it's all the things that I see in like the role-playing games. It's like it's a path. I like to call it the onboarding for the role-playing experience, because once they've played the Rogue Trader Owlcat game, you're primed. There's this Discord invited me in because I had I'd gotten in on this like art group for the Rogue Trader game. It was like a giant gift exchange. There's 100 different artists, and we all submitted our Rogue Trader, and then somebody would volunteer to draw them, and it was a big round robin. So we were all drawing each other's Rogue Trader. And I was asking in chat, like, is there a place you guys chat? You're all so nice. And I had a friend invite me in, and it was just a small Discord. And I was like, you guys ever play the Fantasy Flight games? And they're all like, no, we haven't. We don't really play we've never tried that. And I'm like, I'm going to run one. Let's just see what happens. And like only 2 people really signed up for it. They're like, you're a new person. We don't trust you. Let's just we'll give it a go. We'll see where this goes. And so they join, and we're playing, and more people would see it, and they'd see the channel going, and they'd be like, I want to try. And I'm like, and then next thing you know, like half the channel's in there, half the Discord is in there. I'm like, the pipeline, it works. You like it.
It's funny. So first of all, Alexis has promised to teach me how to stream on Twitch. So that
yes,
she's going to help me do it, and I will stream.
I had to actually look up how to do it again because I looked back up on Twitch and I was just like, uh-oh. But then I figured it all out.
Secondly, I love the fact that RPGs are, including CRPGs, are a great pipeline to get people into Warhammer 40K, because that's where I got into Warhammer 40K, through the ads in Dragon magazine back in the 80s. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know this, but the truth is that Games Workshop's foundation was built on role-playing games. When they were first founded back in the 80s, they were founded as a house that distributed Dungeons and Dragons in the UK. And they worked with a lot of authors in White Dwarf to create monsters for D&D, which became a book called the Fiend Folio, which a lot of people don't know. So Fiend Folio wouldn't exist without Games Workshop, first of all. Games Workshop wouldn't exist without D&D. And role-playing games are absolutely one of the major keystones of what Games Workshop is all about, and has always been about. So I love that.
That's nice. It's the DNA is irreparably intertwined, I think.
Oh, Hawkins pointing out he can help me stream on Twitch. Thank you, Hawk. I'm in good hands now. I got Alexis and Hawk on my side. I can't possibly.
Hawk is probably like way better at it than me. I will point that out. I will try my best, but Hawk could also show you and probably just be like, yeah, Alexis is wrong about this. And I'd be like, dang it.
Yeah, if we can find a way to make it work with the scheduling, because I want to do it. We'll figure it out.
I do want to point out something that I thought was really funny at the Rogue Trader game that Owlcat made. The Space Wolf's name is Ulrich or Ulver.
Ulfar, yeah.
Yeah, that's Icelandic for wolf. The Space Wolf's name is Wolf.
Which is very Space Wolfy. Everything's a wolf.
I always thought that was funny. I also like that he's actually like, in terms of like, if you try to power a house that game, the Sister of Battle is like insanely overpowered.
So is Abelard.
I love her for it.
I hear
Abelard is insane as well, but a Sister of Battle with a heavy bolter.
It's Owlcat really decided to put their face to the angle grinder by trying to create the Rogue Trader system whole cloth is like a systems driven game, because like Ross, I don't think you'll be insulted by saying that it's like very optimistically like a closed system. um,
That's fair. That's fair.
yeah, it was really valiant what they did. Ross, I would be so curious to see you play it. I think
Okay.
you'd really enjoy it.
I am making the commitment here and now on the air, live in front of everybody. So there will be accountability. I am going to stream this game on Twitch. We just need to figure out when and how, because we've talked about it a little bit, but we need to figure out a way to get it done.
If you do it, Ross, I would love to be in the call with you just to talk about lore as it's happening.
Sure, why not?
Because I think that would be a lot of fun.
Sure, we could bring in Kaiser too if she wants. I don't care. I'll
Yeah.
I'll have an audience.
I'll haunt you anytime. It's this. I'd be running the game.
I mean, if you do want to run the Lorebeards like actual game,
that's something
where
else
me and Ross could actually be players.
I'd do you a one shot. I'd do you you'd have to play Scriptorum.
All right, sold.
Come on. We're going on a trip. You two.
Oh no. Okay,
Yeah.
look, if you're listening to this, Sarah has picked up her PC and she's walking through her house, through their house right now, looking at other things, pictures.
What could it be? Where is it? Where is that binder?
Oh, it's right over there.
No.
We can't see the room. There. Wow.
This is the binder for my Scriptorum game that I run in person. And in it, we have, of course, the necessary character sheets and data slates for Synaphia and various post-mortem files, of course. But what's more important is the protocols and operations page of Ordo Scriptorum, where you start getting into, of course, due process, which is a whole system around using the system's many forms, warrants, ways, and means to detain, investigate, audit, so on and so forth.
The real final boss of Dark Heresy's paperwork.
It
Yes.
really is, though.
They never see you coming. It's the only thing that can keep governors, inquisitors, rogue traders trembling in their boots.
There's a campaign that I want to run with using Imperial Maledictum, and we're waiting for all the systems to come out so I can actually fully commit. We're also waiting for one of our games to end because starting another RPG game right now is a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a 2-part game. Bi-weekly, it's the same game happening at the same time, and you're playing an Inquisitor investigating a planet's gang, but you're trying to keep the gang active and trying to keep them well equipped so that they can fight against the enforcers to boost the enforcers who are trying to beat the gang, who don't know that they're being backed by an Inquisitor because the Inquisitor is judging the gang, and the Inquisitor and the enforcers are doing their best to try to figure out where they're getting their weapons from. So it's a double investigation game.
Nice.
That's really cool.
And every other week you're playing the opposite version of what you're doing. So you have to answer for what the Arbite, well, not the Arbites, the enforcers did, or what the gangers did.
I should point out there's a very strong lore reason why a lot of Inquisitors pretend to be rogue traders. So bureaucracy, as you know, is a major part of all imperial institutions. And you've already talked about things like parking tickets. It's just something that they don't understand, right? Because they operate in a different zone.
Yep.
An Inquisitor pretending to be a rogue trader has a really good excuse to just ignore bureaucracy that would otherwise be diligently applied to a actual, Inquisitor who's technically part and parcel and embedded within the imperial systems, whereas the rogue trader who exists outside of that theoretically exists outside of it. Let's put it that way, because there are rogue traders who get caught in the web anyway. But theoretically existing outside are the rogue traders. So there's less of an expectation that a rogue trader will have to follow bureaucracy. And that's why Inquisitors like that as a cover story.
To question you, right? It's like you could stand on some stilts and pretend to be a navigator going through the right place. And it's like people are looking at you like, is this person really do I want to chance crossing the novice nobilite? Is that what I want to do this Tuesday? And
that was
the smart
actually
man
one of our best covers in my game, is when I was playing an interrogator, I was pretending to be an inquisitor, and I would have the rosette, but it wasn't the like official seal, like the one that actually has like the data terminals and everything connected to it that guarantees you're an actual inquisitor. I would
Mhm.
just stand there and be like, "What are you doing?" And just using intimidation for them to be like, "Holy shit, an inquisitor!"
It works. I mean, it work. It will rise your, the awareness of you operating in that area. So some things could happen, but
So
you use that
that
in the right place. They
that
won't
was
mind.
actually one of the things that we did. We had 3 people on our team that were very covert, and then me who stood out.
That's a
So
good
they
thing.
didn't know that they were with me, so I would just go through settings just being like, "Take me to this. I must know all of your information."
Yeah,
That's
there's
quite
Meanwhile,
different levels of trying to be subtle for an Inquisitor. Like the Eisenhorn has a really great description of being very, very subtle. He likes to blend in as much as possible and not let anybody know, as if that's his goal, is like, I don't want anybody to know I'm an Inquisitor and that I'm here, because if they the things I'm hunting know I'm here, they're gonna scuttle away and hide and cover up all their activities. So that's like the most subtle. That's like the furthest needle buried.
mhm.
Then there's Inquisitors, like I said, like to pretend they're rogue traders, and that's a little more closer to the middle, because a rogue trader's arrival is still a really big deal, but it does have the advantage that it draws out opportunists, right? Anybody who's like, oh, well, that means I can do this and I can do that. We're going to make profit, or we're going to be able to get off world, or we're going to be able to move our cult somewhere else. Like opportunism makes the rogue trader disguise a little bit more uh, valuable for the Inquisition's investigations. And then there's the other end of the spectrum, which is, the Inquisitor shows up with the red carpet and a cadre of cherubim chanting his name as he walks off the Aquila lander in full Terminator armor with a storm shield, and he's like, I am now here to prosecute the enemies of the Imperium. And I mean,
the
all
battle
three of those,
pulpit.
yeah, right, or a battle pulpit, yeah. And that all three of these approaches have their strengths and weaknesses. So I think it's really interesting.
I just love all of them. I love the idea that an inquisitor approaching a planet is so cocky that lures out the enemy, because they're just like, how dare you be this confident? Like just blatantly landing and issuing a challenge to your enemy.
It's good. It's the only way to operate, man. I like to play subtle characters, but could I possibly treat you to some of the art my players have done for the
Of
Harlock
course.
Legacy campaign?
Oh, heck yeah.
I won't share the risque ones. Those are for us.
Well, you can share them, just not on this.
That sounds good.
We
That's
will get
for
demonetized on YouTube, unfortunately. So yeah, we will.
it's for
save
the
those.
extended cut. So
40K,
we have
40K OnlyFans win.
exactly. So we are very lucky that our entire game is entirely creative people. It is either artists or writers or modelers, whatever the case. And so I always award extra XP for anytime somebody draws something, especially if they've done gift art. And this is like one of the characters is drawn by Blessby, which, by the way, is the artist I recommended, who does some really, really nice kind of more could probably do that art you're looking for. This is another like Constantine in the center looking a little confused. It's the psychers. These are the 2 psychers in the campaign. So
They're doing some sort of interpretive dance.
they're kind of like they're doing one of those sort of, I don't know if you can see me on camera, but sometimes you're just talking and you're like kind of posing or stretching, and then it goes a little bit too far, and they've taken on
You just
a little.
start JoJo posing.
Yeah, they're JoJo prosing, and they're the kind of got like a brother sister relationship. So that
world. Oh,
yeah, you get it. Same, likewise, same cycle.
wow.
So down at the furnace, in the Harlock's Folly, that one was one of mine.
That's beautiful.
And down in the observatory in Harlock's Folly with the Mirror Demon, who couldn't offer anything to our psyker. Sister of Battle, Blessby does a lot of these. She's very prolific.
Oh, that's beautiful. Love it.
She's actually not Sister of Battle. She's a sister of the Small Secrets. She is a tutor, but yes, she's gotten in trouble for sisterly reasons nonetheless. Some more from Damned Cities. So the Risen. This was killing one of the mutated ones, which was really, really cool. And this is one of the Malleus characters, drawn by
cool.
Augusta, who's like this really cool Ukrainian girl who plays with us.
Nice. Slava Ukraini.
Yeah, Ukrainian, I think. She'll tell me otherwise. I'll check.
No, sorry, I was expressing my support. Slava Ukraini.
Oh, yes. Ukraine. Sorry. I don't know my languages.
Oh, no big deal. No big deal. And it's doesn't have to be your point of view either. I'm just pointing it out. That's my point of view. So
that's my point of view. Yeah. And yeah, they've gotten commissions and stuff too. It's just like they've been so prolific.
Whoa, look at that.
That's good.
Yeah. This is Temple Calix. So we sent the Psyker to the Temple Calix, and they got the cool Force Sword and all that. And yeah, there's just ex demon host Ordos Malleus Crusader woman. She's so fucking dope. It's so cool.
That is an insane story.
Wow, you went from a demon host to a crusader. That's a story I want to read. Yeah.
Oh, so sure. She has such a cool arc. So like Blessby's drawn her Inquisitor as well, which is really cool. Ordocenos Inquisitor. So this character is worth a very short story so far. She's only like at 9,000, 8,000 XP. So like it's a story that's still ongoing, but she was like just a clerk in a ecclesiarchal, like she was an orphan who was working with the church to kind of help file tithe, and got caught up in an embezzlement scheme and put on a penal world. So and she was there to rot in her 20s. And then just kind of got caught up in the wrong thing, got made into this vessel for this. I can't say it because I'll spoil the chat. Like they don't know what it actually is yet. This like particular cool demon that was on that world. And whenever they exorcised her, they decided to keep her with the Malleus group, her Malleus Inquisitor who picked her up. And she's been with this party, and she's got all the classic detriments for it. Here, I'll stop sharing. And this time I'm going to remember to hit the button to stop sharing. Did I stop sharing?
You did. Yeah, you did.
Good. Okay, cool. She's got all the classic detriments, like low fellowship, all the rest. She has like unnatural strength from whenever she'd been corrupted. And so she's just a beast. And she plays it straight. So like this character is ruinous at small talk. Like there have been whole threads that are just jokes of characters trying to talk to her, and she like the most she'll say is like, "Oh, I see," and stare at you with those dark, bottomless eyes. But she's good. Like she has a good heart. And very recently in the game, they had the conclave, and so they had to basically they come back from the Damned Cities scenario, and they'd gotten in a little bit of trouble because they'd had a conflict with the Spectre cell, and they were getting introduced to the Tyrantine Cabal. And the question was, well, there's some people in your group that aren't up to snuff, right? Like there's there's an Eldar. What the fuck is that about? There's a navigator that's not quite a navigator. There's like a guy who was a recongregator. Like there's some, you got to clean house. Come on, what's going on? And so to get out of it, we declared a duel, and we're like, okay, on Sinifia, duels are law. So if you present a champion for your argument and we present a champion for ours, the emperor will decide who's right, right? And so
That's how it works.
that's how it works. And we have a sister in the party who has faith powers from the Dark Heresy 1 Martyr, Blood of the Martyr books.
Mhm.
I think that's it. And she went all out. She wrote like an iambic pentameter poem. She burnt a fate point and like just pumped all of the like coolest faith power she had into this character, this exercised character. And then she rolled a righteous fury. She rolled another righteous fury. She just killed the guy in one stroke whenever it came to the duel. Like quick trade of blows, bam, bam, and then 43 damage from a
Damn.
like a yeah, from like a 8,000 XP minimum, like maximum character. And it's like, okay, well, you've been like endowed by faith by a sister. You've just had like 2 righteous furies in a row. And you are fighting for a valiant cause. You're here to like basically be on the trail of the Tyrant Star. What better time for a miracle? And so it's like whenever the final blow landed and her refractor field had gone off, there was like this halo of light behind her. And like all the inquisitors and retinues and acolytes who were gathered around in the snow at first were like, okay, well, okay, he's dead. And then they backed up and they looked down, and in the snow was like from the wind where it blown back off her, like 2 perfect wings.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's like this long period of silence and cheering and like people throwing themselves to the ground and like taking the snow and like putting it on their face, and they've just left to go deal with Solomon, right? So they still have from this to deal with.
God, that's amazing.
And I was thinking to myself, like, what's the appropriate way to deal with this, right? Because miracles do happen in the setting. Well, she's going to get a little bit of her soul back, so she's going to start to feel things again, just a little bit, not all the way, but just a little bit. And there's probably going to be some weird stuff happening with people rallying for sainthood. There's probably going to be a weird dueling tradition that happens on their tricorn with people trying to recreate. You press the same button to get the miracle to come out again. There might be some schisms. We'll see. And yeah, all the rest. And it is great. These books are like ingredients you have in your cabinet to be able to make the best gumbo you need, depending on what you want. And you can always go digging and find something. So it's nice. It's good permission to go ham.
I should point out that Kaiser approached me a few years ago to join their game briefly. Can you explain that one? Because that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that was so silly. We were play testing, actually. I think it was Wrath and Glory.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, and we had decided that's what it was. We were starting up the game, and our Space Marine character decided to drop everything he was doing because he wanted to go get these bullets from the other side of town. And the only place he could get them was the Storm Warden Sanctuary.
That's right.
That was set up on the planet because they had been delivered there by accident. And if you have ammunition delivered to a Space Marine chapel or reliquary by accident, that's theirs now. But Hermachatis didn't agree. And so I knew that this was going to be happening the next game. So I called you, Ross, and I'm like, Ross, you made the Storm Wardens. Would you like to come play their chapter master and go tell this guy to fuck off?
Oh, I so was happy to do that. God, that was fun.
It's really good. And yeah, you did a wonderful job. Did you have them do a duel? There was like a fight, I think.
Yeah. We had a duel, yeah. Which is really a very Storm Warden-y thing to do. They like to fight.
very Scottish coded. And you gave him a peppercorn. I think you gave him like a couple clips to make him go away. Yeah, that was fantastic. That's a highlight I often tell to my friends. So yeah, you made my table that night, Ross, for sure.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I didn't want to blow my own horn, but I did want to remind people that it happened, because it was super fun. And the reason I bring it up is that I wanted to say Kaiser's an excellent game master, and I would love to see Kaiser, if you want to write for role playing games and you want to write like your scenarios, because I encourage you to do that because you've got the talent for it.
Oh, bless you. Well, I'm starting to do it with this card project, so
let's talk about that.
Yeah,
this is a great moment. Let's talk about your thing now. Alexis and I, we actually participated in this before the show started. We tried it out. Alexis, would you like to describe what the experience was like?
It immediately made me think of like how a character's story flows as they become the character themselves. Like whenever you make a character for an RPG setting, you always have the problem of what are they doing? Why are they doing it? Because a lot of people are just like, well, a lot of people that I know, not everybody, obviously, doesn't, yeah, but a lot of people just go, I want to play a druid. I'm using D&D terms for the simplicity of it. And then they're just like, well, what is the character? Oh, they're a Circle of the Moon druid. Okay, so who are the character? Like, what are they? What have they done? Why are they here? Why are they adventuring? And then we went through these cards, and it was a really quick way for me to think up a character like very fast. Although I'm still going to be stumped on names because obviously.
Well, there's a great table in this book that has some lovely names that you can go through if you like. I'm sorry, I will stop that. So thank you. That's a wonderful introduction. You've like clipped into a lot of the marketing language I have on the site for it.
Could you send me a link to it and we'll put it up in the?
Yeah, sure. I don't have like a proper URL for it at the moment because I had a baby and then I kind of lost the plot. But
dang it,
babies.
Yeah, they will do that. Here, I've popped it over to you in the private chat. But so they're called Fate cards, and they're part of an open source project I've worked on for years, which is called the Chronodex. And you can find a little bit of the RPG drive-through. I'm a UX product designer, and I have been for like 20 years now, 15 years, 20 years. So I'm in between that. And I love helping people tell stories. And whenever it comes to RPGs, that's a pretty obvious kind of connection. And so what these do is they help people tell stories and connect with them. Did my baby throw no, but she's been trying every single day, man. I lay there at night and I hear her roar and sing Old MacDonald, and I think the 80-meter football's coming next.
This is called the Chronodex, is what it's called.
Yeah. I think the easiest way to describe it's just to do it. Frankly, I usually don't bother with the preamble, so we'll just do it. Which one of you would like to make a character? Why don't we do in Dark Heresy? So we'll think about how this could relate to Dark Heresy, but they're written with Western themes, so they could apply to anything.
All right, I'll start.
You'll start. You'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, we have to start at the beginning with an origin. So go ahead and stop me when you're ready.
Stop.
Okay. Oh, my favorite. Okay. Forgotten. So you don't actually remember who you were. The only way you can tell is by the artifacts left around you, perhaps the people that you find yourself with presently in your company. There's a lot of different reasons why you'd wake up in 40K and you wouldn't be able to remember anything. It could be a result of hypno conditioning. You could have been woken up on a demon world, been in a warp storm, on your void ship, whatever the case. There's a lot of
looked into the Golden Throne.
There you go. You wake up and suddenly you can sing to your pal across the sector. However, there is a twist. So so
the first part's the origin. The second part is the twist.
Yes, that's right. So
all right,
you start off somewhere but somewhere doesn't last forever.
Fourth card from the right.
Fourth card, is that with this one?
Sure.
No, it's
Wait.
this one. It's this one. It's this one. There we go. Okay. Oh man, that's rough. Well, it's very 40K, isn't it? Annihilation. So
Whoa.
Oh my god.
whatever happened to make you lose your memory wasn't the only thing that's lost. It might have been that as whatever happened to your void ship, that warp storm, whatever occurred, you escaped by virtue of being on some kind of pod, or landing on a planet. Everything that came before, any hope that you might remember who your people were, what your culture was, is gone. So everything's annihilated. You are forgotten. However,
Oh, okay. So I already have like the idea for a character.
go for
Okay.
it.
All right. So for the forgotten and the annihilation thing. So it's that I'm waking up inside a drifting life pod. The ship,
Ooh.
seeing the exploding ship in the background and just plummeting down towards a planet.
And you don't know who you are or where you're going or why.
Nope. And what the hell happened? And why are there glyphs on me?
All I know is I must kill. There is, however, your own motivation that might help carry you through this horrible experience.
I want to go for the last one.
The last one. Appropriate. Survivor. So, when you land, however, you find that you have a certain set of skills that lend themselves very well to survival on this new world. It's feeling very assassin-y.
Yes.
It's feeling very much, it feels very much put there on purpose for something specific. But whatever the case, you're not the one who should be afraid in this scenario, I think. I think whoever you were before is someone somebody else should be worried about. However, there is a complication.
All right, let's go dead middle.
Dead middle. That's a cool one. Malady. So you're afflicted. You are sounding super assassin-y. Whatever's going on with you, it's got a time limit. And you're starting to fall apart. Perhaps you have some kind of like strange curse, strange affliction. Whatever the case, you're running out the clock to perhaps figure out who you were, how to stop that process, or how to enact whatever it was that you were sent here to do. In any case,
the polymorphine is starting to wear off.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's it. You've got a very dark character. The colors are actually a little bit of a clue as to vibes.
Oh.
So you've got black is very fatalistic, kind of entropic, where dark blue is very of the world, sort of like things are happening to you, as opposed to you are in that false word.
It's a death cult assassin.
It's a death cult assassin. Yeah, I like it very much.
Oh, that's crazy.
And they've got little questions on the bottom to help you kind of refine who they are and make them into your character and help you think about the world around them. Would you like to try and make one too, Ross? I know it stretches on a little long. We did one before.
I'll do one quickly. I just want to point out to all of our listeners that this is a really great tool for building a character, but it is, as Kaiser has pointed out, it's very good at themed vibes for a 40K type scenario. So this is a 40K podcast. If you are looking for a way to build a character for something like Dark Heresy, you can of course go the route of just opening the book and doing that, which is fine. But these cards, the Chrono decks that she's built, that Kaiser's built, is, I mean, it's based on Kaiser's experience with Dark Heresy, so it's kind of a refinement of everything that was put into Dark Heresy. So if you want to do Dark Heresy, I strongly suggest trying this out. There's like the tables.
Very, very inspired by the emotional journey this took me. It's those tables are just absolutely lovely, and we made a bunch of faux tables for the some of the extra worlds and classes and Rogue Trader and all the rest too, so we could extend the experience. And so this was almost a way to have a consolidated version of that. So it's very much a love letter to Rogue Trader and Dark Heresy.
Thank you very much. I'm sure when we have Mike on, I'll tell him about this, and he's probably going to love it.
All right, one more.
Why don't you pick for me? Just pick any card you like.
Okay. Emotion.
Hey.
And in this case, I'll describe the themes. You tell me what kind of character you have. In motion is just a character who's been in motion since the moments they can remember. They've always been on the move. It could be a pilgrim. It could be a refugee, whatever the case.
A New Yorker.
What's that?
A New Yorker.
A New Yorker. Lots of different reasons for that in 40K, right? It's hard in isolation, but with a twist, I think you'll be able to come up with something in particular. Recruited.
Mm.
So what could a character who's in motion who was recruited be?
I see where this is going. I see exactly where this is going.
It's going somewhere. So let's pick a motivation too while we're at it. So we'll go in here and let's pick from the star. Seeking what was taken. So something important was taken. Once you were in motion, this could be from when you were in motion, something from back then, right? Or perhaps you were recruited to find this thing.
Yeah, I'm feeling like an enforcer who's become a bounty hunter in like a high.
They're looking for me.
And I've been recruited because I'm seeking something that was supposed to be in a certain place and is no longer there, which may in fact be an assassin, which would be pretty cool if that was the thing. Maybe I am seeking out Alexis's assassin because she's not where she's supposed to be, and someone's like, you need to find this person and get them where they need to be.
However, you do have a complication.
And that is
you are hunted as well.
Ah, perfect.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, that's a great character.
Great setup for building a party. Because like now you got Ross's enforcer or Arbite in this case.
Could be either
coming after me, but they're being hunted by somebody else. Now they need me and him to work together to fight this thing off. And I have my own goals that just maybe go the same direction.
Absolutely. I like to suggest whenever I'm using it to like start a game that people choose a common card. So like each pair of players has like a certain stage that they have in common. And it's like a nice way to force people to consider how to draw together a correlation. Because I like a frictionful experience like this where you're given like 4 themes and you have to figure out how to tell a story from them, because what it forces someone to do is to draw from their own experience and like to fill in these gaps with the mortar of their own life. And so oftentimes you will see people like get this combination of something completely random, like you were stolen by the fairies and you lost your memory and so on and so forth. And they'll be like, that's me. And I'm like, really? Is that you? Okay. But you know, people do connect with these concepts, and they try to, by filling it in with the parts that they know, they create something that is maybe more themselves than they would be willing to admit otherwise. And I think at the end of the day, that's the beautiful thing about a role-playing game, is it kind of gives people permission to tell on themselves a little bit about those deepest parts of themselves that maybe they haven't really thought about all that much.
Chronodex is coming to Kickstarter, it says on the website.
So, when I'm not taking care of my baby all the time, when I haven't just started a new job last week.
So eventually it will be on Kickstarter. I will be one of the backers, so please let me know when it launches.
Same.
I would like to subscribe to your newsletter. This is relevant to my interests.
I'm hoping it works. Yeah. We'll see. I'm not a marketing person.
Well, we here on Lorebeards would be happy to promote it for you, so don't hesitate to reach out.
I would appreciate that. And I'll I'm always going to be promoting you too.
We appreciate it. Thank you. I would love, I have often pitched your webcomic for Wrath of Glory as a, like, you should do this for your game, because it was such a great recruitment tool to play Wrath of Glory and to explain the rules too.
Oh, I'm really glad. It was so fun to do. I think everybody learns a little different. Sometimes seeing a visual example is the way to go. It's a little different for everybody. I will always make time for a comic for you, Russ.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I may be reaching out to you. You never know. Life is weird, but
we have to get that one comic of the Sons of Garrow meeting up with the Storm Wardens.
Yeah, that'd
And
be a
just
lot of fun.
completely disregarding you as you're trying to do the ceremonial duel.
Yep.
We so if you're not familiar with Lorebeards 40K out there and you're listening to us tonight, this is our first guest, but we also do our Wednesday shows are typically things where we'll build a Rogue Trader's retinue, which we did, or a Chaos Warband, which we did, or a Space Marine chapter, which we did, and we have a lot more things coming up. We have a lot of what ifs and let's builds. We did a what if the Emperor died. We did that one episode, and we're going to do some who would win battles as well. We're planning to do that in the future. Alexis is really excited to have some characters, and we're going to let chat kind of help out decide who would win in a particular conflict. So Wednesday, that's our Wednesday show. Our Saturday shows are strictly lore. So if you want to learn more about very specific groups like the Eldari Corsairs, which we covered last Saturday, the Andraste.
I like that we covered the Eldari Corsairs before we covered the Eldar.
You know, I mean, the Lorebeards channel in general is well known for going deep on niche, like people, places, things, events, groups, and I think that helps set us apart in the 40K lore community. So,
yeah, it does.
That's just a little bit about who we are, in case you don't know who we are or what we're up to. But I do want to say I really appreciate Kaiser for coming on board with us today. You've been a great guest, and I loved your cards. Those are great. And I loved your stories about how you got into the hobby. It's a hell of a journey, honestly, from a Dark Heresy game to being part of Games Workshop to designing their app. I mean, that's amazing. That's a hell of a journey.
Ross, I was telling Marie the other day, we probably wouldn't have our daughter if I'd never picked up this book. You know, it's like these little things, these little these little yeses we have in our lives take us on such wonderful paths. So thank you for being one of my favorite yeses.
Well, we appreciate you very much. Alexis, did you want to talk to Kaiser about any particular aspect of lore or her cards or anything like that?
Well, now that you asked, I completely forgot.
We've been nattering about it. We've been nattering. It's been so nice to just see you again, Alexis. It's like it's a pale shade of getting to see you at a proper Adepticon. But,
yeah. Well, once I get everything settled here, I do intend to actually travel through the UK again, and I want to actually go to Warhammer World. When I am going down there, I will message you. I'll just be like, hey, I'm going down here. It'll be cool to meet up. Also, do you have a couch I could sleep on?
We sure do.
Professor Shat points out that the Corsairs stole the Eldari Lorebeard stream in true pirate fashion.
Yes, they did.
And this feels like a coffee clutch, doesn't it? It feels like we're just all friends gathering around a warm hearth at Warhammer World and just sharing stories and catching up. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we'll have to meet up for the Dark Heresy game 20th.
Yeah.
Maybe Ross, maybe you could run us something.
I'd love to.
That would be so good. I'm
so down for that.
I
know Victor will come with us.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have a proper European little gathering over there. It'd be really fun.
I'll make you a feast fit for a horrible rogue trader.
Ah, love it. Please no warp eels, though. Warp eels are bad.
No, just like a live fish stuffed with a live hyper pheasant, and
my God,
a boar worm, and it's just a turducken. But
that's what I was thinking. Is like how horrible would a turducken be in 40K?
The absolute. What do you think a grox actually tastes like?
Yeah, chicken or beef. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's a lizard.
It's got to be chicken, right?
You'd think. Yeah. No corpse starch. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion, firmly held. I think Grox mentioned a little bit too much. I think there's pigs. I think pigs exist in 40K.
There have to be pigs.
That's the hill I'm gonna die on. So,
well, like one of the things that's always bugged me, and because this is in Dark Heresy 2, they have sauruses, which are dinosaurs. They would be mass farming them.
You gotta be eating the saurs, yeah.
Although
dinosaur steaks.
We got a super
moment. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say we got a super chat from Spitfire 703, $20. Thank you very much, sir. No message attached. So if that was a mistake, please post it in the chat. We'll be happy to actually say it out loud what you were trying to say. But thank you for the support, for sure. That's a big help.
There was one funny moment when we had Saurus riders coming after us, and Victor knows that I'm a massive dinosaur nerd because I'm a nerd and I love dinosaurs, and every nerd loves dinosaurs. Every nerd has a favorite dinosaur. Like everyone does. And I said, Victor, how avian are these dinosaurs? And he's like, very. And I'm like, okay, I want to use my psychic powers to alter its memory to make me the first thing it's ever seen.
Oh,
He's like, wait.
that is brilliant. You imprinted it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it didn't attack me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's beautiful. I love that.
That is like perfectly Warhammer 40K. Could I have just shot the dinosaur? Obviously. Should I take the most idiotic approach to it? Yes. That's the Imperium.
At my table, we would call that player bullshit. That's some high quality player bullshit right there.
But, you know, if we're creative enough, it's so hard to say no.
We also had our buddy Eagleman get really depressed in a game once, actually like very recently, because he set up this whole like trial and game and everything, and then it was a Fae because we were playing D&D, and this Fae was part of a Fae council, and one of the characters was like, "Hey, wait a minute! I know about the Fae council." Transformed into the king of the Fae and demanded the person come out and see him face to face. And rolled like a perfect 20 on this, just a nat 20. And Eagleman just sat there just going, man, damn it.
Hawk says new Dark Heresy character idea, Psyker with Raptor companions. I like it.
Yeah, their name would be Owen. Actually, their name would be Claire. And I'm not talking Claire from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. I'm talking Claire from the Jurassic Park comics that raises the raptors.
Yeah, it looks suspiciously like Chris Pratt for some reason.
God, I hate Chris Pratt. He's a terrible actor. He's the worst part of everything he's in.
Oh no, I disagree with that. If you have not seen the new
movie he's in,
the new Magnificent Seven film with Denzel Washington, Pratt is brilliant in that. I do recommend that one. So we have a fight brewing now, and like
movie night.
You know, oh god, a Lorebeards movie night. That'd be wild.
We watched the Ultramarines movie.
Oh Jesus, we should too. Dear Lord.
Or the German
Damnatus.
Yeah, that one's a good one. That's classic.
Yeah.
Brazil is a guiding light for me for a tome for a Dark Heresy game, if you've ever seen it.
Yep.
So Spitfire did come back. He says, I wanted to say what a delightful stream this has been, but YouTube chat is borked.
Oh, no.
I thought we had less comments than usual, and it's all Twitch.
Yeah.
So YouTube
yeah, I've noticed that
totally
too.
Broke.
Oh, no.
I don't know what the problem is. I'll have somebody look at it afterwards. I do apologize about that, everyone.
Sorry about that, guys. We're not sure what happened. We will talk to the tech priests, and we will commune with the machine spirit, and we will hopefully get everything back up and running soon. Deeply apologize for the technical difficulties on YouTube. I'm not sure what's going on there. This is the first time we found it. And there are comments from YouTube, but they stop around an hour and a half ago. So
yeah,
weird.
Oh, that's a shame.
Let's see if this pops up.
Hawk was able to post your link on YouTube. I'm not sure what's going on. That's wild.
Yeah,
okay,
the YouTube ones are not coming up. That is so weird.
Unfortunately, this is the end of our show. Did we miss any super chats from YouTube?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Well, Kaiser, if there's anything you'd like to say as your final thoughts, we'd love to hear it.
Well, Alexis, is such a pleasure to get to see my old friend again. And Russ, thank you ever so much for working with the wonderful people who brought this game to life and giving me my love for Warhammer. You've given me a lot, so thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kaiser. It's been great having you on as a guest, and we'd love to bring you back. So maybe we'll do that again in the future.
If you
Sounds
ever
good.
want a trip to Iceland, just hit me up.
I won't say no. And when you guys are ready for the 20th in Nottingham, I'll be there.
Hell yeah.
Spitfire says that Andy and Ryan had the same problem on their last Tuesday stream. So we're not alone. We're not alone. Foreign characters before and after your comments works, says Invictus Enemy. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
That's so weird.
Reject modernity, return to primitive weapons and armor only.
Okay. All right, Ross, I need your answer on this. In Dark Heresy, can you use a sling to throw a grenade further? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'd allow it. Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I have.
I'd allow
That's
it.
all I needed.
Well, that's about all the time we've got today. Alexis, do you have any final thoughts on today's show?
I thought it was really good. It was great seeing you again, Kaiser. Like, oh my God. I'm just excited. I'm happy to be here as always. And remember, everyone, in the grim darkness of the far future,
there is only lore. I'll say Kaiser is one of my favorite people in general, and also one of my favorite creators for 40K and Warhammer content. So it's been wonderful having you. Thanks so much, everybody.
Been a pleasure. Thanks, everyone. So nice.
okay, love you guys. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.